is October 27th, Monday. Welcome to our regularly scheduled Rochester City Council meeting. City Clerk, roll call, please.
Salvia?
Here.
Vixen?
Here.
Hauser?
Here.
Jones?
Here.
King?
Here.
Sage?
Here.
Trent?
Here.
We have a quorum. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Well, good evening again. We do have a full agenda tonight with lots of exciting topics in council chambers here tonight. We're moved around a bit because early voting is taking place here in council chambers, so please apologize for our mess, but we're multitasking and using chambers for multiple uses. So to begin with, I will we'll have a legislative update from Senator Weber. Good to see you, Senator. You've been busy working through the budget process.
Yes, yeah, thank you, Mayor, thank you, council, residents. So Michael Weber, I do serve as the state senator for the 9th district, which includes the greater Rochester area, Troy, Sterling Heights, Shelby Township, and Utica. And just wanted to come back and give a kind of more fall legislative update. This is actually the first one since we've got the budget done, so I appreciate the city of Rochester being so accommodating on that. So,
Sorry.
no, it's all right.
That sounds important.
If we're in caucus, you would owe $5 for the phone. I know, but it goes to it goes like the flower fund, so I'll just give you a little inside baseball. But so the state budget, you know, like all of our families in Michigan, state government must live within its means. So I'm happy to support the bipartisan state budget. We got it done a few days after the deadline, and it rolls back spending for the first time in years, state spending for the first time in years. It helps our workers here in Michigan by eliminating taxes on tips, overtime, and Social Security, and it makes needed investments in our roads by finally putting every penny paid at the pump into the actual roads. So in terms of the city, you know, I'll talk about road funding, I'll talk about revenue sharing and public safety trust fund. It's kind of like there's some good and there's some bad. I'll start with some of the good. So in terms of the road funding, Rochester's going to see about $500,000 more per year on an annual basis, about a 33% increase from what you guys are seeing right now. Oakland County is going to get close to $48 million in additional money per year. So obviously partnering with them and the Road Commission on some projects, as you do, would be beneficial. And, you know, overall, it's about $2 billion more in annual road funding than what we've been doing previously. And so with the bond coming off the books, obviously that $2 billion will be helpful, with a lot of it going towards local roads. Also dedicating $100 million annually to our state bridge repair program. It's really a backlog of bridge projects, and of course we've seen in other states where some of these bridges have broken down. So I think that's added money. On the downside, you know, revenue sharing decreased a little bit after the Public Safety Trust Fund that goes towards local law enforcement. It's probably about a 6% decrease in statutory and constitutional revenue sharing. I will say on a happy note on the revenue sharing, we are continuing with the Revenue Trust Fund, Sharing Trust Fund legislation with MML. We finally got it introduced in the Senate around the same time as the budget process. I'm working with Senator Jeremy Moss and Senator John Cherry, both on the other side of the aisle on this bipartisan package. And again, we're trying to make the case that, you know, trying to provide that certainty for cities and townships and counties. And so I'll keep you posted on that. And then in terms of the Public Safety Trust Fund, that's about $95 million in new local public safety focused money for local public safety-focused programs to provide cities, villages, townships, and counties with additional resources for law enforcement, prosecution, other public safety-related recruitment, retention, training, firefighting equipment needs, as well as to support community violence intervention efforts. This idea actually came out of discussions between former Speaker Joe Tate and Mayor Duggan, and so it's been talked about for the last few years. Finally now, on a bipartisan basis, it's been passed, it's in the budget, the $95 million. I think as this continues to get looked at and talked about, there may be some tweaks to the formula a little bit. You know, it's great that Rochester is a very, you know, low crime community, but you don't, obviously in the formula, you don't get obviously the money, as much money because of that. And so I think there'll be a healthy discussion about that. I mean, some of my communities that are pretty large population base, they think because of increased population, you know, they should see a little bit more money. So I think that we'll have some discussions about that over the next year or so before the next budget happens. And then lastly, this has been kind of a passion project for me that I wanted to update you on, and it really is dealing with a very important issue, mental health in our state. So I called for an independent audit of our Office of Recipient Rights, and it's how our state hospitals protect our kids and adults receiving mental health care. The audit came out and it shows the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services failing to protect our kids, the rights of our kids and adults when receiving mental health treatment. The audit was pretty stunning. 8 findings in all, with 4 of them being material findings, which are the most severe of the findings. To give you an idea, a lot of these audits, there's maybe 1 finding, maybe 2 findings at the most, and usually if there's 1 material finding, that's seen as a really big deal. There's 4 now on that. So I think we're going to have some oversight hearings here in the not too distant future, but I am going to be working with my colleagues on that in terms of trying to fix our state hospital system, because again, there are patients in our care as a state, and you know, so we need to do better in that regard. Lastly, because I know you're busy, have a full agenda for residents here and at home. For more information, to sign up for our monthly e-news, please visit senatormichaelweber.com or call our office at 517-373-0994. So, and I can take any questions.
Sure. Thank you, Senator. Council, any questions? Councilmember Trent?
Not really a question. I just wanted to thank you and the rest of the legislature for working so hard to come up with this budget. I know that there was a few days delay, but I kept up with it through MML Live updates, which I really appreciate that's what they do. And I felt like that the compromises were very well done, I guess. The bipartisan efforts were, everyone was listened to from what I could tell, and I
Sure.
appreciated that.
Yeah, no, I think it turned out well. Obviously, there were some bumps getting to that point, but it did, I think, turn out well, and hopefully a model for, you know, next year's budget going forward.
Yeah, thank you.
Anyone else? Thank you,
Thank you.
Senator. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Next up, we will have an update from our DDA, our Downtown Development Authority, on the Graham.
Good evening, Council. Ben Giovanelli, Chair, Rochester DDA. Just a update. So last time we were here was not so great news. I'm not sure who's having more fun in this project, us or Community House. So
Right now, Community House, we're having more fun.
I'm praying for that as well. But I wanted to come back and kind of give you guys, so when we last chatted, talked about our soil issues and the massive increase in budget and blah, blah, blah. So I said I wasn't going to come back until we had a plan put together to get us back on track, and we believe we are there with this project. So tonight is Evie Franz. Where's Evie? Oh, there she is. Evie's right behind me. So she's an architect at Auger Klein Eller. She's going to walk you guys through sort of the changes that we made, being mindful of you know, the environmental issues that we have there to work with, and then getting us back on track to the budget. And we, like I said, I think we're back, baby. We're very excited. So with that, Abby.
And Abby is reassigned back to this project. You saw it in the very beginning, and now
Yes.
you're back, right?
Yes, exactly. So I've kind of come full circle with this whole thing. So my name is Abigail Franz. I work with Auger Klein Aller Architects, and thank you for enjoying our presentation, I hope. So, like Ben mentioned, the previous iteration of design had to be reduced because of the poor soils. It was in too much soil reinforcement that we were going to have to do. So what you're seeing here on the board, it's not in your packet actually, but this is a previously approved site plan before the changes, where I just wanted to show you, we had a covered stage and an addition that came off the north building. And in our new site plan, we're doing the same programmatic amenities. We're doing our covered performance area, we're doing a bathroom addition, a little storage building here, and an accessible route to and from each parking lot. So the same programmatic amenities, but with a reduced, more efficient footprint, which means a more efficient budget as well. Moving on to the interior, this is rotated 90 degrees, and so this direction up here is north. We have an information desk for the DDA in this little building. The dotted line here represents the pavilion above, that will be the event space, the outdoor event space. Coming inside, we have our storage and serving that will serve this indoor open air event space that the DDA will use primarily for the farmers market, and our restroom addition. Now the restrooms will be for both indoor and outdoor events. One of the most exciting things about this design for me is that we are activating the street frontage along the front here with this new kind of brick wall that kind of pays homage to other farmers markets. Kind of like this industrial, historic, aesthetic that pays homage. We have a public plaza in the front here, and then the new public plaza over here around the corner. This is showing the pavilion, which is our event space that's outdoors, and then showing how it interacts with the public parking that we're maintaining. Looking at a human perspective, this is approaching the building from East 2nd Street, showing our public plaza. That curb appeal is there. Coming to the inside of the space, program has stayed the same from previous design proposals. This is looking the opposite direction. One of the good things about this one is that we are also able to heat and cool the space now because of the decreased site work that we're doing. And looking at our food serving area that will serve the DDA events. This is looking at our public plaza here in the bathroom addition that will come off of the existing pre-engineered building. A site stair that will connect the two sites, as well as a ramp. Now this public plaza is another exciting part of the project. This area here has been dedicated to like a pollinator garden, and serves as an accessible route to and from each of these parking lots. And then this is what the performance pavilion looks like. We have a nice architectural feature of a wood slat wall that will serve as a backdrop and an information desk area. And then looking at Water Street, a loading area, and in the rear of that information building. And with that, just to summarize, this is an exciting project that'll bring a lot of value to downtown. It'll be a great venue for the farmers market. It'll provide an accessible pedestrian route to and from the two parking lots, and still maintain public parking as well. So thank you, and I'll pass it off to Ben with any last comments.
We'll take you, I'm sure you'll have tons of questions. So how we were able to get back on track with respect to the budget was by disconnecting the two buildings.
Yeah.
So I don't know which one, kind of, if you can go like sort of the overhead. So we'll get you back. So we moved sort of the back to the front, and then so these two are disconnected buildings. It's in effect a pergola. I mean, I don't know what else you would call it, but we were half joking I was going to get the Amish to buy it or build it, send it up, and then we'll get a couple cases of beer and have the boys put it together. But it's a freestanding object that's basically a glorified tent area or whatever. I don't know what would you call it?
Pavilion.
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 Sorry, yeah, right.
Yes.
And then the building itself is largely unchanged. So some of the biggest issues that we were facing, and we were going around and around and around, is where to put stuff. So currently, there is a grade change between the buildings of what, 4 foot, 5 foot, something like that, or between the lots?
Yeah, about 3-4 feet.
So we're dealing with that, and we've dealt with it with the stairs and the ramp. Abby's team moved the ramp over to save us some money on earthwork, which was a fantastic idea. And it's actually solving part of the
Yeah.
problem that we have with respect to the
No,
bank next
it
door,
is.
because
It's
there's a
very good.
retaining wall there that's falling over. So we've solved about 36% of that problem by doing that, right? So, but both buildings are separate. Now we're not having to deal with any of that dirt reinforcement, because you've got, what, 6 piers in the ground there. Way easier to do, and you don't have to do a bunch of stuff. But we were really struggling with where to put the HVAC, because when it was an animal hospital, it had a mezzanine on the inside, and that's where all the furnaces and stuff were. But that's all gone, it's been gutted. So we were going back and forth, and yeah, Abby and her team figured out that we were able, we're affectionately calling it the moat. It's about a 9-foot piece of dirt between the building and the parking lot. So they were able to get the HVAC up in the air on the side of the building in the moat area. So could you go back to the one inside picture so we can see? There you go. So those 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hanging off the wall, that's actually coming in from outside the ducts, and we were able to save a ton of money by doing that. It's just general, commercial, it's not anything super fancy. And also too, with the bathrooms, we wanted to make sure that we had access to the public, even when there was no event space there. So you can lock the inside door, which is in the corner there, can be locked, and then people can still use the facilities from the outside. And the bathrooms have multiple stalls, and then a family bathroom or 2, yeah. So I think, I left here last time, we were almost at our lowest of lows in this project. This thing has just been a dogfight. But Abby really came through with some awesome ideas to separate this stuff out and make it work. So ran it through a quick matrix to say, all right, are we back on track? Everybody to a person on the team feels like we're back within budget. We're there. Of course, we won't know until the pricing comes out. I think you guys are delivering the construction packet by Halloween.
Correct.
Yeah, so they can't get pricing until the construction packet comes out. So all this revised stuff is going to be in the packet. Then Rewald will put it out to bid. We should have numbers back in a couple of weeks. I don't think it'll take very long. So we're running a lot of concurrent stuff we got to get before planning, because we've made changes. So I think, Nick, you said we have a public hearing, so it sounds like, yeah, so we got to get the packet to planning this month, so it can be on for December, and then the thought is in December, planning is going to put it up for public hearing in January. So that's sort of that cadence there, so we're working that path. At the end of the day, we need to have a finished project by September 30th, 2026, or else we got to give about $940,000 back to the county, and I don't want to do that. So we've been assured that we're basically modifying an existing building. We're putting a bathroom. I affectionately refer to it as the double wide, but we're putting a double wide off to the side with some potties in it. We're putting the office outside for the farmer's market and the SNAP folks, right? Yeah, so all the SNAP activities will occur out there as well. Yeah, we think it's, given the challenges, to get us back on track, we're super excited, and now, everybody's really sort of, again, rejuvenated on the project. So this is basically the same presentation we did to DDA last week, so I just wanted to get you guys updated. Again, no numbers tonight. Everybody to a person thinks we're back on track, because we're not dealing with any of the dirt issues. There'll still be some, but they're nowhere near what we had before. Mostly just that one retaining wall on the side yeah.
The Huntington Bank side.
Well, yeah, but yep, that, but also too, there's some cement work that's gonna go on. That's actually the old,
Oh, thank you.
yeah, sorry.
I was wondering.
Don't confuse the issue. Yeah, so that, we're working on that one, but there's still some cement work there. I think net, design, the last design had us taking a significant number of parking spots up in the lot.
Correct.
We're not taking any of them now.
Yeah.
But with the plaza here, we're taking up some lots in the lot that we bought, so the net is -2?
-2.
Okay, but still well within specs for what planning needed. So that's one of the reasons we gotta go back to planning. So that will make the farmer's market parking folks happy, I think, because we're not taking up those spots. Now, there was some sacrifices, because if you look at the first design, the stage was tilted I guess, was it northeast? Northwest. So, and for Christie and the team to activate for movies and stuff like that, that was important. But now with this design being a detached pavilion, it's just going to have to be straight, and we're just going to have to deal with it. So I told her, we'll save a bunch of money. I'll buy you a new movie screen. We'll buy you a new movie screen, so it'll be fine. So I think on balance, this is a good, a good common ground. We're delivering 95% of what we said, so fingers crossed, but we should have some numbers back in a couple weeks. And like I told you, you guys know I'm always trying to be transparent and let you know where it's at. So tonight was more or less just to let you know that I left here last time with my tail between my legs, and I'm coming back wagging it, so.
Wow.
Nice, thank you. Thank you, Ben, thank you, Abby.
You bet.
Thanks for the update on the design, the timing. Council, questions?
Just a couple little questions. First off, thank you for coming back and trying to stay in budget, and I know that was a lot of hard work, and so we
Yeah, it's brutal.
absolutely appreciate
Yeah,
it.
yeah, 100%.
Because it isn't exactly what you originally wanted, so thanks for that. The grant was for the original front porch idea. I assume that's still what you're doing, works with that grant?
Yep.
So you'll,
Believe me, that is like number one on the top of my list.
That's what I figured. If you were able
Nothing
to-
getting away with that. We can't afford to write that big of a check.
awesome, thank you. And are the bathrooms going to be open? Do they get locked by the police at the end of the day?
So
or-
that's going to be the fun one that you guys get to decide. So it's really going to be, we're providing the service, like we used to say back in the good old days, you can't legislate morality. So we're going to have those conversations, tough conversations about when they're open, when they're closed, cameras, no cameras, all that stuff. I'm just building it, so.
I know people have looked for downtown
100%.
bathrooms,
Yes,
so
they have.
Yeah,
this
no,
is
it's going to be
definitely
great.
a
They're going to be
need.
there. I just, it's a thing, and we got to get through it, right? So.
Okay, and then the final thing is just the parking. So is there parking, and maybe I missed this, by the bigger building in that lot? There is.
Yeah. So,
How many
go
parking
back to
spots?
the,
You might have
outside
already
view.
said that. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
we
I
lost
think
6
they did,
spots,
yeah.
or we lost 6 spots up top, and we gained all the ones outside. Net loss was 2 spots.
Okay,
But
so-
what we're doing here is, where those tents are now, those are actually parking spots.
Okay.
So those would only be up during an event, right? So that parking will still be available. We're gonna have to make sure that we have enough handicap there, which I think, Nick, didn't we, yeah, so we got that all dialed in there.
So where the picnic tables are also parking
Correct,
spots?
yeah. That's
Okay.
just showing it in full event deploy, so.
Okay, so
That's our
sometimes
barbecue
those
festival.
will not be open, like if there's an event going on there,
No,
those
you
parking?
can, yeah, if the smarter you are and you get there early enough, you might get somewhat undercover parking
Okay,
early in the morning, so, but don't tell everybody.
okay. All right, that's it. Thank you.
Yep, you bet.
Anyone else? Councilmember Trent?
Well, I had the privilege of seeing this on the 15th. So, yeah, I even like it better this time. I really, just those details of the architectural elements all being connected and cohesive is really, really well done. And the interest added by these pavilions, I know shade, I don't know. Were you guys
Yeah.
just reading
No,
my
that was a
mind?
big
I
thing
mean,
for you
it's-
guys. We were
yeah,
very
yeah,
mindful of
yeah.
that, so.
No, and I like the way it's been designed, how you've added them in, and then it melds into, and it makes it, what I said, more cohesive and simpatico with the whole shape of the building. And I do love the fact that we do have a front and a back, and the front on Second Street is really, really well done. And I like the way that aesthetically it does fit in with the firehouse and station and buildings near it, but also the downtown. And I guess that's all my gushiness, except for the pollinator garden. Now,
Yeah.
I guess maybe that's where this is all about, why I'm so excited.
Well, I don't know why, but we're painting the fire station white, so we apologize for that. Hopefully, don't tell chief. Don't tell chief. And also, no, the thing's still there, we can still.
No,
see
it's
it. I just
nice.
want to shoot the
Yeah, I
water
got
cannon up
some-
there. All right, so the front facade, you may recall from a certain farmer's market downtown, which I sent pictures to, and he's like, oh, yeah, that'll work. So dialed it in there. The arches should be super familiar. I think, Nick, you had said that we have to pick and choose on monuments, so that monument on the street is probably going to be gone. So that'll be an opportunity for some more. That'll stay, but the
Space.
one on the ground will have to go. We can't have two. we're not anybody special with respect to the planning rules and whatnot, so we'll, of course, abide by whatever. But that'll also be an opportunity for a garden of some sort as well, so.
Just one, and so you're also saying that there is parking that's going to be available to the public?
Yeah.
when
So
it's
where all
not
those
being
green
used.
tents are on the
Yeah,
left against the
okay,
bank,
okay.
right there, that's all parking. The thing
Okay.
we haven't quite sussed out yet is that the concrete plaza there, the different change, we're going to have to put something in there so kids aren't up there doing burnouts and stuff, so we'll.
Yeah, we got them.
It's a nice little
we'll have to-
skateboard area.
I mean, I
see the ball
hate to
yards.
even have to talk about that, but it just sort of
Yeah.
is what it is.
Yeah, all right.
But yeah, super excited.
Yeah, thank you.
You bet.
Thank you very much.
Anyone else? Councilmember Hauser?
Very quickly, Ben, I know time is of the essence.
Yes,
so
sir.
You had mentioned planning commission in December and January. Does it help if there's a special meeting on a second? We don't need that, do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate that.
Okay.
It's the holidays, and obviously, there's a lot of stuff going on, and this has been enough, and we want to not be treated special.
That's fine.
You know,
I don't look at it treating special.
Yeah, no, I understand. Yeah,
Do it
you're just
for
trying to help
everyone.
us move stuff along, and I get
Okay.
it. The only thing that I'm trying to be mindful of is the construction process, right? So, the good news is with this, we're inside the building for most of it. So they're gonna be able to do a lot of stuff in the wintertime inside an existing structure. So, Rewald has said, yeah, you're gonna have to have some winter condition stuff and whatever, but like the pavilion and all the cement work, that's gonna happen probably April, May, next year. So a lot of the inside stuff will be done. The bathrooms, probably over the winter. I don't know, we're working through that right now, but that'll be part of sort of the bid process, right? But yeah, everybody's, September 30th is like, we're on it. But thank
get
you
it.
for that, and to the extent that we need any help to kind of, X-Lex move things along, we'll have to reach out to you guys.
Great. Anyone else? Councilmember King?
This looks really good. I think creative redesign, and staying within budget, so certainly appreciate that.
100%.
Just two things can you speak to? Can you talk about the cohesiveness of the roof structures? I know, I'm curious, or is it all the same roofing material, or is it different? And then also, bike parking, will there be sufficient bike parking? Because the parking currently for bikes is inadequate.
Gotcha. Yep, on the last one, Christie, take a note. I think we've actually talked about it several times. So yeah, that's definitely on the radar screen. The roof, I don't think we're doing anything to, are we?
The existing roof of the pre-engineered building is staying the same. This is all just standing seam metal, so, all three of the new roofs that you're seeing are gonna be the same,
Get hold of Brian.
material, but the existing roof is not changing.
Okay, thank you.
And then bike racks, we have two proposed bike racks on site. One at I'll show you the site plan. One here, one here.
I hope they're cool bike racks.
They're like wavy.
Have you seen the staff?
Those accommodate, so I would just say those hold about like maybe 3, 4 bikes, depending on how people park them.
Yeah.
So it may not be adequate.
Okay.
You might want to see what holds
Christie is
more.
taking copious notes.
Yeah.
But in terms of everything else, so all the other stuff that was pitched before, none of that is changing in terms of the lot resurfacing and the driveway and but Nick is on the hook for free trees, that's all.
That's right. Awesome. Councilmember Sage?
Thank you, Mayor. Ben and Christie, so the Historical Commission, more specifically, Robert Machalka, the author of the Detroit United Railway book, would like to donate the original watercolor by Paul Adams that fronts this book.
Oh.
If you guys would care to display it within the
Are you
grant.
kidding me? That'd be awesome. That's really.
Very cool. Very
That
cool.
book is, it's been a life work for him, and, yeah, we'd be honored, for sure.
Wow.
Thank you for that.
That's awesome.
That's nice.
Very cool. Very cool. All right, well.
Put it under bulletproof glass.
Yeah.
Move,
After the,
Yes.
Yes.
All right, that's
Right.
a great
Awesome.
report, great news.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you,
Great
thank
work.
you.
Thanks, Council.
Great work. All right, we will now take public comment before we move on to the rest of our agenda. So we'll take public comment for anything that is not on the rest of the agenda. Kim, I know you know the drill.
Yes, good evening. Kim Russell at 345 Lysander and owner of 322 and 326 Albertson. Mine's not as exciting as the Graham or giving you money from the state, but As you know, the importance of local elections cannot be overstated, and I am grateful for each one of your services. Council has a hard job. No one is perfect for this important work. I can speak from experience as I've served on city council from 2007 to 2019, along with serving on several boards and commissions, Trailways, Planning, RARA, PSD, to name a few. I've made my share of good decisions, but I've also made mistakes. Each vote that you take has a minor or major consequence, both good or bad, depending on the outcome of the action. Good consequences have positive results, like the city securing a 3-year budget, which was great, thank you. City council securing grants for the rivers, for the parks, for the Graham, for the community house playgrounds, replacing the bridge at Dinosaur Hill. Whoever did the trail to the detour is awesome, and it's exposing us to a beautiful natural preserve that I don't think many people knew about before. City council, planning, ZBA, trailways, all those things have a lot of power with each of your vote. They directly influence the local residents affecting and shaping our daily lives. Municipal budgets, creating local laws, establishing community priorities. After a motion has been passed, the consequences, as I stated before, are good and bad. From my point of view, voting on the proposed 2025 zoning map has negative impact. Too many properties making nonconformities is a result of loss of property owners' rights, and natural outcomes are not desirable for major consequence for the properties like on South Street, OPC, and Albertson. The current planning commission made changes to our Albertson property that this body approved the master plan of 2022. It was light industrial with special projects. In order to make these kind of changes, you need solid evidence. Changes to the Albertson property seem logical at first to make it residential, but because the contamination from Standard Oil, which back in Rochester, all the properties were basically heated by oil, this gives solid evidence that this property cannot be residential. We are grateful for the special project overlay. I think it's important for each of you to understand the consequences when changing zoning to nonconformities. Insurance increases. You're unable to get mortgage or traditional financing. In section 403 of our city Rochester zoning ordinance, if a building is damaged more than 50%, it cannot be replaced, and the nonconforming can no longer be allowed, and the building has to be destroyed. The property owner cannot change or make a building or property. For example, if OPC is R2, which it is currently looked at, then they can't expand their building, their parking, that type of thing. Also, nonconformity buildings cannot spend more than 20% of maintenance occurring. In section 405, repairs and maintenance are capped at 20%. Land use discussions bring out strong opinions from the public. So, they have opportunity, they need to be heard. It's your job to be fair, to follow the rules, to control your emotions, and to listen. And personally, I know how hard that can be. There are always different opinions, and remember, the people that oppose are the ones that you're going to see most often. Public pressure should not be the only reason to approve or deny. I thank you all for your attention, and I wish you all the best of luck on the upcoming elections.
Thank you, Kim. Any other public comment tonight for something not on the agenda?
Pat Kane, 817 West 4th Street.
Good evening, Pat.
Okay, I don't have so much good, but I got bad and ugly tonight. Quite a while ago, I gave you the introduction to a couple of candidates because of false information that was being circulated. And then I gave you an update. I called it Chapter 1. Then I gave you the saga continues. Well, now we're at the final chapter. They having released a YouTube video. And I'm going to tell you, I think a lot of people, from what I've heard, we've taken exception to it. And the reason we've taken the exception to it is because of the blatant, absolute false information that pollutes our local politics. The first thing they said, and they've implicated, is that Rochester is not following the law with the budgets when we are. We build a budget from the bottom up, not from the top down. We do follow the law because they're balanced. Balanced budgets, and we've extrapolated budgets 3 years out. So where's the problem? Number two, they said the reserves. 10 years ago, they said we had a reserve that was 100% of coming expenses, which means we could actually pay all of our expenses for a year and not do anything. That is not true. And if we did even have a large reserve, that is for going into our revolving funds. It's taken out at any time. It's used for ongoing projects that we know we have coming up. We're going to spend it down. Our reserves currently are about 40%. The normal business approved for a reserve is anywhere, pending your city, between 7 and 30%. We're conservative and strict. We have 40% for reserves for unexpected expenses and emergencies. So we're falling exactly where we should be, not over and not under at all. And again, not right. Unbelievable. But the worst thing and the most blatant lie was to put up that Rochester's debt bond for 2025 is a total of $51.8 million. $51.8 million we are in debt. I called Anthony this afternoon because I want to state accurate, because I knew it couldn't be true, and it is not. We are just over $20 million in debt, bond debt, and this just includes the last bond debt we had for the skate park, the trail, and the community house. What they posted up is $2.2 million, big letters, skateboard park, wasted money. What they didn't tell anybody that they're looking to get votes from is that we did bond, and you need to bond about $3 million to have it worth anything, but we did put $500,000 only into the skateboard park, $1.7 million to trail with matching fund of $1.7 million, and $700,000 to the community house with the failure to mention a $2 million grant. When you add it up, that total bond was $2.2 million, and it was not skateboard. There's $500 into it. So it's frustrating because we're in this, what I call the home run, because when I was on historical, we were upstairs. I saw that clock ticking down, the days, the hours, and the minutes. When I have asked any questions, and so have my friends and neighbors, you can email, you can call, you can go on their website and put it right in. There are no answers. The only answer you're ever going to get is, it's out there, find it. It's because they have nothing to substantiate or validate what they are saying when we're coming into this, except to badmouth everything in our administration, in our council. And it's a reflection on all of us that voted you in and support at one point, and that is really bad. Their closing statement on this mess that they posted was, quote, "Rochester families deserve a government that works for them." Well, I'd like to be able to tell them that we have a government that works for them. And the government that works for them gives us the exact numbers, gives us the transparency and the communication. All of the candidates running Save 2 have been transparent, available, answered the questions, but they can validate what they are saying, except 2 of them. So all I'm going to say is we're in the long run, and I hope that there are people still having seats with the integrity and the honesty that are not going out there and really disparaging our city from a financial standpoint and disparaging the city, saying we're not stepping to responsibilities when we have, because that is false information. And I think we need that out of our city. Thank you.
Thank you, Pat. Any other public comment tonight? Good evening, Ann.
Good evening, Council. So, along Ms. Russell's comments, she did it very eloquently. Mine is to the point of regarding the joint City Council, Planning Commission, and ZBA meeting, which she actually attended as well. I went just to see what was happening there, and I'm glad I did. I did find it troubling, though, that some of the comments and discussions that were made at the meeting because there is a lack of total understanding in what Ms. Russell even noted as some of the most powerful, important seats that we have in this community. So, and as a former council person and a planning commissioner, I do know how important that is. So, I believe that whether people are appointed to these seats at any given time or elected, the city administration needs to make sure that everyone attends a training prior to sitting in any of these seats. Because what I found was embarrassing that that was a public, open meeting, and any developer who was to come into town would be very, disappointed, because mistakes have been made along the way, as it was pointed out. And it was kind of, from sitting there, I never really experienced that before, seeing that type of thing happen in real life when I sat there. There is preparation that's needed for all of those and a huge understanding of what that role is in all three of those. And I know we have a great staff that has worked hard and tirelessly through the years regarding all of this, but comments that were made last night could easily, made that night, could easily go into a lawsuit if people had been sitting there listening to the comments. So equally concerning is, and it might just be my own personal, because you can all weigh in later on with administration, but what I witnessed was we had a planner that did discuss things that I thought was inappropriate, misleading, and some were derogatory remarks about some developers in our community. And I know you all know that because you were sitting there. Might not have been unjust, it might have just been whatever, but it was a public meeting. So what I'm asking is that whoever is ever elected to any of those most important seats or appointed, just because you want to put somebody in a seat to fill them, make sure that they are fully educated, or at least educated and have the resources available at all times when needed, and everybody has an open voice to go and just get the information they need. That was not the forum to discuss the things that were discussed. And also, I didn't like hearing, and it was joking, that we would possibly limit discussions of public comment as well. That is one thing you don't want to start right now until you get all this stuff in order, and then go ahead and do it. Because too many people are left with unanswered questions and they don't get the answers that they need. And it's usually offline, or keep it behind, just go tell somebody. I'm done doing that. That's why I'm here tonight. I didn't have to come, but I feel it's important that everybody knows how important the decisions you make, especially on the Planning Commission, affects the growth of this community. And we have seen failed projects, and I'll call them failed all the way for the next 10 years until they're done, because something is not happening right to get good development in here. And we need to figure that out. And we also need to make sure that we don't make bad decisions on master plans that stop people from moving forward. And I think there's more education that needs to be done as well. And as far as HOAs, that's a whole other story, and I'm not going to get into that one. But tonight, I just ask that you all go ahead and make mindful decisions and make sure that city administration makes sure everybody is educated before they take those seats. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other public comment this evening? Do we have any public comments online? Deputy Clerk, I believe, Brian, I think you're there.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I'm not seeing any hands raised at this time.
Okay, thank you. All right, moving on to our consent agenda. We have two items on the consent agenda. The first, item A, is to approve the Rochester Regional Chamber Foundation's request to hold the 2025 Christmas Parade on Sunday, December 7th, 2025, from 2 to 4 p.m. Item B is receipt of the check registry report. Great example of transparency by this city council and city administration, where every payment that is made by the city is in this report for the public to see, as well as council to review. Councilmember Sage.
Motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Yes, motion by Sage, support by Hauser. Any discussion? Seeing none. City Clerk.
Salvia.
Yes.
Vixen.
Yes.
Hauser.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
King.
Yes.
Sage.
Yes.
Trent.
Yes.
Thank you. Passes. We have no old business. We're moving on to public hearings. We do have a public hearing tonight. First, this is for consideration of the 120 South Main. This is a special project and site plan review, including a facade change. So City Manager, I think we first will hear regarding the facade change, and then we will have the public hearing, and then City Council can deliberate.
Yep, so Vidya Christian, our city planner, is online here. She's going to walk you through the process that we've been through, and then the site plan and the ask for the special project. Vidya, all
Thank you,
yours.
Mr. Banda. Good evening, council members. So the request before you is from Travis Riley on behalf of Michigan Capital Partners. I will share the site plan on the screen so the council can follow along. The request is to put on an addition and reuse an existing building in downtown. The council is familiar with this building. It is just as you come off the bridge. It is the first building which was formerly an automobile service garage. It has remained vacant for a while, and the applicant's proposal is to build an addition in front of the existing building and accommodate 2 physical therapy offices in the building. This use does qualify under our zoning ordinance interpretation as a medical office use. The Central Business District does not specifically permit medical office uses. However, this property is located within the special projects boundary in the city. So the applicant has applied for and has followed through on the process for special projects approval. They did have a public hearing at the Planning Commission as required on September 2nd. And the Planning Commission recommended approval of the site plan and special projects to the City Council, subject to certain conditions. I'll go over the site plan details in brief. With regard to setbacks, there are no specific setback requirements for the Central Business District. Typically, to create a pedestrian-friendly interface, buildings are required to be closer to the street. This, however, was a former garage, and currently the building is located about 97.5 feet from Main Street right-of-way. The applicant's addition brings it 20 feet closer, so they are actually improving the appearance of the site overall. There is an existing access drive into the site, which the applicant is not proposing to change. Lanes of ingress and egress are proposed to be striped. The use on this site will operate Monday through Friday from 5 a.m. to 8 p.m., and it is like any conventional office in any area. As such, the amount of traffic in and out of the site is not extensive enough to require a traffic impact study. It is going to function like a regular office use itself. With regard to pedestrian access, there is an 18-foot wide public sidewalk along the site's frontage on Main Street. In addition to that, the applicant is proposing 6-foot wide concrete sidewalks on the west side of the building and a 5-foot wide sidewalk connector from Main Street. So the site is well connected to the public sidewalk system, and the customers or patrons to this facility will also have sidewalk access to the main front door of the building that is located there. Based on the ordinance requirements, this building requires a total of 16 parking spaces. The site plan shows a total of 19 parking spaces, including 2 handicap accessible spaces. The sidewalk is located at grade, which is why the applicant has provided bumper blocks to prevent vehicle encroachment onto the sidewalk area itself. When the applicant appeared before the Planning Commission, all of this area was proposed initially as concrete. Based on the Planning Commission's recommendation, the applicant created this landscape bed with plantings in order to provide for some level of privacy for the patrons who are exercising or having therapy inside the building, since this facade is fully open glass windows. And it also provides for a separation between patrons and between the parking lot itself. The existing building on the site is constructed entirely of block. So the applicant is proposing to retain that as is and paint that dark gray. The new addition that is to be constructed, initially the applicant proposed constructing that of dark gray engineered wood siding with a black fiberglass roof. But based upon feedback that was received from the Planning Commission, the applicant was very receptive in changing the facade to include brick. The packet, unfortunately, has the images in gray tone shades, so you can't actually see the color, but the colors that the applicant are proposing are in coherence with what is expected for downtown Rochester and its historic character. If you see that, the applicant is not only proposing brick on the entire front facade, all of the proposed additions, the sides, are also going to be constructed of brick. The front facade is going to have overhead garage doors, which can be opened and closed. There are black canvas awnings, and any lighting that is proposed is on the underside of the awnings itself. And there is going to be a roof that matches the shingles that would match the color of the brick itself. That will be complementary to the color of the brick. And overall, it gives it a really nice appearance, which goes well with the rest of the site. One of the important site design changes that is being made to improve the site is currently the site has parking that abuts right up to Main Street right-of-way. Even though there is an 18-foot wide sidewalk, there is really no separation between parking on the side and people who are on the public sidewalk. Added to that, vehicles parked here, their headlights shine straight onto Main Street itself. So upon Planning Commission's recommendation, the applicant has added a 5-foot wide landscape green belt, which will be planted with ornamental grasses. Some of these ornamental grasses are very sturdy and durable that will survive well in a 5-foot wide space, and that can also withstand salt and snow being piled up on them. Addition of this landscaping creates a clear and distinct separation between parking and between pedestrian traffic on Main Street, and overall brings this site so much more into coherence with what is expected of a downtown site itself. Trash and recycling is going to be stored inside the building and brought out here during the trash removal, and they will contract with the trash removal service in order to have the trash removed from the site itself. As a special project, the applicant is required to demonstrate public benefit to the entire city. That is what qualifies it as a special project. In response, the applicant has provided a written statement that is dated September 15, in which they do note that the proposed project is revitalizing a site at the gateway entrance to the downtown itself. The site has been very challenging. Over the years, the Planning Commission has seen numerous proposals for this project that did not fit, either because of the topography of the site, which is significant considering there is a big slope off down to the East Main Alley. It did not work because of the mass of the development that was being proposed on the site, or architecturally it was not compatible in terms of their line of sight diagrams with the rest of downtown. So the use that the applicant is proposing at this time is actually a very reasonable adaptive reuse of an existing building, which is very challenging. And by putting on the addition and making site improvements, the applicant is greatly improving the gateway entrance into the city itself. Based on our review of the proposal and the applicant having complied with all of the Planning Commission's conditions of approval when they appeared before the PC, it is our recommendation that the City Council accept the Planning Commission's recommendation and grant site plan and special projects approval for the proposal at 120 South Main. I would be happy to answer any questions you might have. Thank you.
Okay, so before we open the public hearing, council, does anyone have any questions regarding the presentation from video? Yes.
I just have one quick question. So is it just one, is the entrance and exit the same, do you come in the same way and leave the same way?
Yes, the building has got a single point of entrance and exit, and the site also is one way in and one way out.
So a garbage truck would have to come into that parking lot because of where the garbage is going to be located, right?
Yes, yes, the garbage truck will have to come in because the typical required width of a drive aisle is 24 feet. The applicant has got 30 feet. So they have more than enough area. Should a garbage truck come in here, they should be able to, what is a transition area, be able to make a turn movement and exit the site without impeding the rest of the traffic on the site.
Okay.
Councilmember Trent?
Yes, my question is about the green space. It looks like what it's on the proposal here is that they're replacing those trees in that area. That whole area there is going to be some replacement trees and shrubs. Is that my understanding?
We're not touching it.
No, Councilmember Trent, they are not touching any of the trees. This is just a representation to show these are the trees in that area, and all of the trees will remain. The applicant is only going to clear up some small underbrush to just clean up the site, but they are not removing any trees from the site. All of the trees that stand here will remain.
Oh, okay, all right, thanks.
Councilmember King?
I have a question. It's unfortunate that our packet doesn't have colored photos.
Yeah,
It's
it is.
really,
Yeah.
I'm really struggling with the design, especially because this is a request for a special project, which, to me, this is setting a very low bar for what gets designated as a special project. But in any event, I'm looking back at the Planning Commission packet. I understand what they've shown is not exactly what is in our packet because they've updated it to be brick. But I am seeing like a peach awning under the PT Works. Is that still intended to be part of the color scheme? Can you help us better understand?
The developer, when you
what
have
we're
him come
looking
up, he
at?
can explain that, yeah.
Yes, I would defer to the developer to show that, Councilmember King, because I have a black and white. My understanding is all of this is black awnings. They are labeled as black awnings. They're not peach in color. These are all black colored awnings. I think the applicant labeled them on this. It says the colors, it's a canvas awning. It is Belden brick, which is then the block is dark gray. These are the shingles, and I believe they label the color of the awnings as black.
Black.
Concrete block, wall-like fixture behind awning. Awning is black in color.
Oh, Councilmember King, are you?
Okay, I'm sorry, it shows as peach, but it was labeled red on the prior, so I'm trying to find color photos, and so it looks like maybe that's been changed. But can you speak to the public benefit here and kind of what we've seen from other, I mean, I sat on planning for a number of years, so I've seen some projects come through and receive special project approval, others that did not. I just don't know if we're meeting the bar of public benefit. I don't think taking it, just saying, well, it's dilapidated, it's not being used, is enough for the project. So, you know, how does this compare to what we've granted for other special projects? And does it really meet kind of that bar of public benefit by, you know, seems to be the bare minimum?
I understand. The special projects is actually a unique developmental option that is available, and that does not say that the project has to be of a larger scale. It just so happens that all of the projects that have come before the city council so far for special projects have all been these huge projects. You know, you've had First Street Lofts, Riverfront Place, 210 Diversion, you've had the preserves. All of these are really big projects. We have just not had any smaller projects. That does not exclude smaller projects from the special project umbrella, as long as they demonstrate a public benefit. Considering the size of the development, it's a fact that this particular site has been extremely challenging. City Manager Banda can correct me, but I recollect at least 2 to 3 different concepts that were presented before the Planning Commission, which were not feasible. Some for the reason that the mass of the building was too much, other for the fact that this was formerly a garage. So there is likely something in the soil. I don't know about what level of contamination or any issues with the soil itself. The third thing is this is right off the bridge. As such, with only one point of access in and out from Main Street itself, you're talking about a traffic issue that can come up if the site is developed with more intensive uses. The slope of this property also makes any access onto Main Street Alley extremely challenging because you really do not have line of sight when you're going northbound on Main Street Alley itself. This property has got lots of physical challenges to it. As such, it is not like working with a clean piece of property such as some of the others that we have dealt with. Its shape is also very unusual, so it cannot accommodate any project of a size that we have seen. The applicant did attempt that once or twice, and they did not pass Planning Commission's check. So at this point of time, yes, it does seem that this is very small, but the ordinance does not prohibit a special project based on its size. The applicants, there is a concept in planning called adaptive reuse. It doesn't necessarily mean tearing down of a building. It means there is an existing building and you're trying to creatively reuse it while trying to make other improvements to the site. So the public benefit that they are bringing is based upon the challenges that the site has faced, and so far simply none of the proposals that the applicant has brought before you work. So the site will remain as it is in its current state of, it's not really an attractive gateway entrance into the city itself. I will defer to the applicant. Mr. Riley had made a good presentation and presented his case for the history of this project and what special benefit it is bringing to the city. So I would definitely like the applicant to speak towards that too.
It's great. How about the applicant's here, correct? Great. How about you give us your update, and maybe you can provide some literal color details on this project.
Good evening. Yeah, so we've been trying to develop this.
And you're Travis?
Oh, Travis Riley, 3234 Loon Lake Shores, Waterford. We've been trying to develop this property for a very long time, and I think we've proven that without a height variance or a waiver of parking, there's no way that this will ever be underwritten by any lender. So we reapproached this from a different way and tried to find a community-centered use. There actually are about 20 different medical uses currently up and down Main Street in the CBD. Apparently, that's not consistent with the zoning, which we now know, which is why we're here in front of the Council for Special Projects. We are looking to improve the site. We're prepared to put a tremendous amount of money and energy into the site and bring it back from what it currently is, which is obviously not a great use for the site. So, you know, we're eager to get this started, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Can you speak to the colors, the color scheme of the brick? I saw on the diagram gray brick. Is it gray? Is it red?
It's red brick. We were told to mimic the Penn Station, so we're mimicking
Okay.
that to a T. We're not diverting from that at all.
So reddish brick with black awnings.
Correct.
Got it. Council?
Yes, so you're adding 20 feet on the front. What is the back part of the building going to be used for? Is there any updating, or are you?
The whole building has been stripped. We expected to frankly be started already, so we'd already completed all the demo.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So it's a shell right now. It will be completely updated on the inside and painted on the outside.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and I do understand it's been a very problematic piece of property. I like the fact that it's not a building right up next to the sidewalk when you come into town. It just has it'll still keep that open feel. It really was a personal aesthetic request but you know, I'm only one, but I know that you could have put a building right up to the sidewalk, and I have come into Royal Oak, and I was sorely disappointed on how that feels. It feels like a cavern. So I like the fact that you've pushed it back. It is back from the road, and I also like the fact that you're adding more, at least some greenery and green space into the cement parking areas.
City Manager?
Yeah, nobody's said this, but it's very important to us, forester guy. They're not touching the trees. That's the only tree of heaven forest in Rochester. When tree of heavens are older, in the wrong spot, they're bad trees. That is a natural forest that's been there forever. They aren't touching it. All the other projects clear cut the site, dug down 30 feet. You came in from under Mill Street off the alley. This is minimal impact and creating the buffer along Main Street to match Penn Station's buffer. So that's a huge give to the city that we keep that green belt. As you come off the bridge, you're going to see those trees forever. They're not touching them. So that's very important. So give them credit for that. So.
Councilmember Trent?
What type of trees were they?
Tree of heaven.
So that is a lanternfly issue. So they may want some lanternfly traps to put in there.
There's no issues there.
Well, Oakland County, though, is becoming a problem because lanternflies live there.
Yes.
I just want to say thank you, because I know you've come before several times trying to find the right fit for that. I think this is the right fit. The more greenery in the front, the better is all I have to say. So it's not just so much concrete as you come down the hill. But I just want to say that I definitely support this, and I appreciate all that you've done to try and accommodate what our needs are here. And there are a lot of other medical buildings already downtown, so thank you for that.
Councilmember Sage.
Thank you, Mayor. And I too agree with Councilmember King. We have rarely, if ever, had an opportunity to consider a special project on a smaller scale, right? It's always been a big project. But I want to remind everyone, we have a special project designation because we have never aligned our zoning and our master plan. So it's been to our benefit as well, right? We've had the opportunity to make some good, sound developments. And in some places, it might have given us reason for additional consideration. So I like the use, this readaptive use of this property. It is a challenging property, and I will definitely support it.
Thank you. Any other questions?
If I
Councilmember
could.
Hauser.
So thanks for coming in. I was not able to attend the planning commission meeting when you were here in September. I was out of town, unfortunately. And I heard all the comments. I watched the video again. And I heard the debate back and forth about, you know, a landmark project, your gateway project, you're coming in and all those various things. I appreciate very much the struggle that you've got with the footprint of the building. And I appreciate very much the geography and the elevations, et cetera. And I just don't know, and maybe it's a moot point, but is there anything you can do in the parking lot to not have it so much cement? You know, to add a little bit more green, or are we really capped out at what we've got?
We're 100% capped out. I mean, I honestly think the parking lot's too small, you know, too narrow, but that, you know, we're understanding of what the city wants, so we've added the green belts on both sides, so.
I appreciate that. I understand. I'm just
Yeah.
trying to.
Yeah, good question.
I mean, it's actually added a tremendous amount of costs, so it's.
It's not lost on me.
Yeah,
It's
I mean.
absolutely not lost on me. I appreciate that. It's sincere. Thank you.
Okay, so,
I do
Councilmember
have
King.
another question. So if the brick is red, not gray or black, like was shown, what's the back color of the building? Because there's existing building.
The charcoal, the plan is to do just a charcoal on the cement block right now.
So we're gonna have a charcoal cement block against red brick with black awnings.
Well, the
Charcoal
charcoal's in
facing the
back.
alley,
It's
facing the alley.
Facing the alley.
No, but it's also the first part on the south end of town, that south wall. The first half of that will be a charcoal block.
I thought that was brick on the side.
Isn't that brick?
That was brick on
Yeah,
that
it's brick
side.
on the side up
brick.
to.
The
there's-
front, the new part of the building, right?
Correct.
But the old part of the building.
Yeah, which frankly is masked by most of the existing vegetation. So the only spot that you'll actually see that is from the alley.
So the only place you'll see gray is in the alley, on the back side of the
Yeah,
building?
down at the bottom of the hill from Mill Street, looking up the alley.
Because if you're
It's
coming into
pretty-
town, you'll see the side of the building, which will be brick.
Pretty
Correct.
far back.
Yeah,
back
so
will be
there's gonna
gray.
be a small little sliver of the gray that you'll probably see. You know, I don't wanna say that you're not gonna see anything, but we
Right.
also have our surround around there, so most of it is masked.
Right, right. I am interested in getting the back of that building secured. I did notice that there are some broken windows.
Well, as part of the demo process, we were fully expecting to be under construction, 2 months ago, so we started tearing it apart, so.
Broken windows are just a pet peeve of mine, so.
No, I know, believe me, I'd much rather be further along, so.
Right, I get it. All right, so let's have the public hearing on this. All right, it is 8:07, so I'm going to open up the public hearing. This is on 120 South Main Street. If you could please approach and give us your name and address for the record.
Hi, Council. Tom Nabity, 1017 Inglewood, so Rochester resident. I'll be the medical director and part owner of the tenant for this building. I guess maybe just to comment a little bit about the value that I think will add, not just the way the building will look and the aesthetics, but also the services we're planning on offering. I think they align very well with the community values of Rochester. It's a place you want to live. It's a place you want to live for a long time. You want to be active. You want to enjoy our beautiful parks. You want to be able to walk. So our mission for this service line is really developing and creating access for what I call the 5 pillars of longevity and the 5 pillars of health. So really moving medicine out of the traditional healthcare physician's office, reterming terms like healthcare and calling sick care what it is. When you're sick, you need a place to go. And when you're healthy, you need a place to go to stay well. And right now, we really don't have a great system in our healthcare community, our healthcare system, for those that are healthy and want to stay healthy. When they want to prevent disease, they want to, but get ahead of that whatever caught mom or dad, and that's really the type of services we're going to offer in this location. So it's not a high volume. It's a member boutique clinic that will combine things like exercise and diet counseling and testing that allows our residents and our community to really have active, long, healthy lives. So I hope that brings maybe a little bit more value to why a special project should be approved. Obviously, the construction I will leave to you all, but just very committed to the services that we're going to offer through this clinic.
Thank you. Thank you, Tom.
Yeah.
Any other public comments during our public hearing? I don't see anybody moving. Is there anybody online?
There is no one, thank you.
Okay, at 8:10, I will close the public hearing. All right, so council, we've heard from our planner, we've heard from the applicant, we've heard from city administration, we've asked questions. Is there any other deliberation or discussion we'd like to have on this special project? Do we have any motions regarding the special project? Mayor Pro Tem.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the special project for this healthcare,
127.
new healthcare. I just read a book, Longevity. It sounds exactly like, sounds exactly like what they're talking about. You sound a little more normal than Dr. Ataya or whatever his name is.
Oh, Peter Ataya.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
He's a good one. Awesome. We have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Vixen.
I'll support.
Support. Any other discussion? For my part, longevity is my buzzword of the year or hopefully the century. And I look forward to seeing this property improved. I look forward to seeing the additional green space, and I want to thank you for all of the hard work that you have put in and you're going to put in, and the money that you're putting into our community. City Clerk, the roll call.
Salvia.
Yes.
Vixen.
Yes.
Hauser.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
King.
Yes.
Sage.
Yes.
Trent.
Yes.
Thank you. Project is approved. Let the construction begin. Bring some longevity to our residents. Blue zones, make us a blue zone. Thank you. Moving on to our legislative deliberation, we have consideration of a request to change the approval process for some special events. So I think we are going to hear from Police Chief on this.
Good evening, Mayor and Council.
Good evening.
This is a request to amend Article 5, Sections 34, 152, 53, and 154 in respect to special events. I think you guys know me by now. I look at different things to make it more streamlined, more efficient. And I spend a lot of time on these special events, and 95% of them are, I call them routine because they're the same events every year. And I have it pretty down pat. I know all the logistics, what it takes. For instance, if someone wants to have an event here in the city, they fill out the application, it comes to me, I look at it, I look at all our needs, costs, I ship it up the channels to the other department heads, they review it for cost. Once I get all those back, then I have to type a memo, it goes to our city manager, he reviews it, he sends it back to me, then either I or or Holly or Megan will put it on the agenda, and it comes here for approval. It usually goes under the consent section, and I don't think I've been to a council meeting yet where something hasn't been approved. All I'm asking is to empower me to approve just the routine events. Events that involve, if it's a first-time event, would come to council. If it's an event that we had issues with in the past, it would go to council. Any kind of major event, Christmas parade, lanyap, and the art and apples, that would go to council. And if I have any reservations about a certain event, if there's a red flag, I would certainly come to council for approval for that. And then each month in the manager's report, I would send you the schedule of our events. I'm pretty good about sending those out, but at least you get to look at it. And if you have any questions, you can say, hey, chief, I want this on the agenda for discussion. The fact that if you do empower me to approve most of the routine events, I think 30% of my job is working with these events. I mean, the traffic, the barricades, consulting with the other department heads, talking to our city manager. This would save me so much more time. And plus the people that come here every year, sometimes they need to know like right away so they can book the event, and sometimes they have to wait 3 or 4 weeks. So I just think this is a good process. And again, I'm not trying to take it away, all of it away, but I think it's pretty fair what I'm proposing. And again, if you have any issues about any event, you're gonna have the schedule beforehand. And that's all you have to tell me, hey, we want this on the consent agenda so we can discuss it, or, so.
Okay, Councilmember Sage, I see a lot of hands, so I'm going to start at the end.
Well, I want to thank the chief and the city manager for a very common sense approach to something we deliberate. And I like the fact that it streamlines the efficiency of the department. So, I mean, we're going to continue to deliberate, so I will just make the motion to approve this. Looking for a second, and then continue the
Motion by
deliberation.
Sage, support by Trent. Okay.
So I
Jones?
actually talked to city manager about it today, because my concerns were, getting them out in front of the public, that they're happening, but I talked it through with him. First off, there's rarely, except with the DDA, anyone here to talk about their event. Secondly, a lot of times they're 6 months from now. So my only concern would be make sure that those events, and I think they're put on our calendar anyway, just that they're getting their information out there so we know they're coming up. But I absolutely trust that a lot of them have been going on for 20 years. So it's and if it's something unusual, you said you would bring it in front of us, and I think that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah. Councilmember Trent?
If it's a new event, right? If it's a new.
That goes to you automatically.
Yeah, like,
And I think-
it's not just like, okay, here's another
No.
5K,
No.
and then
It's
you're
gotta
like.
be a new event.
Okay,
And
it's
I
gotta
think
be a
this year
new
we had
5K.
one
I was
this
going to say,
year.
most of it is,
We had
repeat.
one new event this year.
But I mean,
The
is it,
Dachshund.
That
Is
would
it-
go to you.
but is it a new 5K, or you're looking at, oh, this is.
Brand new name, new organization.
So, I see,
Yep.
so, yeah, so it's not, doesn't have to be a new type of event, it's just a
Exactly.
new event
A new
application.
nonprofit.
If they change, let's say we had a current event and they changed the entire way, the method they're doing it, I would come to you with that, because that's kind of a red flag, and I want to make certain that you're satisfied with that also.
Yeah, because the only thing is that I assume they were brought forth to city council because if anybody knew anything about an event or just could look into it, that they would have more information, maybe historical knowledge or something. And in your case, you're just saying, well, these are the same events, so.
Routine, yes.
Yeah, okay,
Yep.
I think that's a great idea.
Councilmember Hauser?
I think, again, I concur with everyone's thoughts that this is a very good idea and streamlines the process. The only concern I've got is every now and then, we may get an email from a resident who lives over on Griggs or Drace or Albertson, that the noise may go beyond a certain time period or might be a little bit loud. What can you do to assure us that those issues will be addressed as part of this routine review?
Well, again, if that was an event that we had complaints on, and there's a few of them that we had, I would bring it to council.
Okay,
I'm not going to decide that on my own.
that's fine.
I'll tell you how we can address them, but that's something, again, that's a red flag for me. I bring that to council.
That's all I needed to know. Thank you
Great,
so much.
Great, so new events that, using your discretion, you see a red flag, we should review. Those will still come to us, as well as this, I'm going to call them the signature events. They're still going to come before us.
Correct.
Great, thank you.
Yep.
Councilmember King?
Just one question. What about events that get declined? Would city council,
ever
if
declined.
there was an event that, you
They have the option to come to you.
That was
We always give them
declined.
that option.
well, I think we should see it if it gets declined. We should
It's-
have an awareness
If
on
it was,
it.
it's on there, bullet point 3, if it was denied in the past, then I would bring that to council. I would not approve that one.
And in the manager's report, we can list if something, it's very rare they decline.
Yeah.
or we decline them, but it's happened, so.
I just think if there is a
Transparency.
decline,
Yeah.
if it's a recurring event, but they've changed something, like there's something you're not comfortable with, then we should be aware of it.
Yeah.
It should come to city council if it's a decline.
But that would come in in the form of a
Complaint.
consideration, right, not on the consent agenda.
Exactly.
Right, okay.
And
City
I would just,
manager.
if some of you are having a deja vu, when COVID hit, Chief Steve, we did this. We didn't bring them all here, because we didn't want people in the room. And back then, more people came to talk about their things. So for about a year and a half, we gave him this policy direction. If it's a returning one, you don't have to come to council, we just would report it out. And then, for some reason, we stopped doing that, just put everything back in. When Chief George got here, he was like, let's just look at them all. So this is kind of coming full circle, so.
Great.
Just one other quick comment. I was going to say this at the end because I spent time with you last week, and this is something we talked about that I hope all the citizens understand, that because of our park and our events downtown, how many events do we have compared to most other cities? I mean, we have over 100.
We have, I mean, the ones that get approved by council, I believe it's 50 to 60 a year, and that's not the small events that, I don't see those. But it's, I mean, compared to other cities that I know of, probably 15 times more events a year than other cities.
I just want everybody to appreciate how much time the fire department, the DPW, and our police department put into, we're an event city.
Yes,
And
we
so,
are.
thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you. City Clerk, the roll call.
Before the roll call, Your Honor, the motion would be to give introduction or first reading to the ordinance amendment.
I will amend. Will amend said motion.
Amend,
Second to
support,
All right.
roll call.
Salvia,
Yes.
Vixen,
Yes.
Hauser,
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
King,
Yes.
Sage.
Yes.
Trent.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, moving on to item B, we're now going to consideration of ordinance language regarding e-bikes in downtown. So, City Attorney, I think you've worked on this.
I will start this off. So before you is essentially a request for discussion. If you look at the request for action, it's not even to move forward with first reading and introduction of anything, because this is going to be a policy discussion first and foremost. We've heard at different meetings complaints or concerns about e-bikes and whether it's mostly in the downtown area, but we have heard some other areas as well. So I had previously I had sent some materials out for either people who wanted some more information and also to all city council about the state does regulate electronic bicycles. And there's different classes of them, and depends on who can ride them, whether they have to have helmets on, where they can be. And so it seemed like the request from city council is let's take a look at it and see if there's something we should put into place. So I did some research on this, and actually the city of Birmingham has one in place that this is fairly modeled after. I thought it was a pretty good form to use. This particular language, and this is just to start discussion, since the downtown seemed to be the most level of concern, is this would, it lays out a bunch of definitions of motorized electronic bikes, mopeds, motorized scooters, segways, so forth, and then it says you can't operate those in the downtown area. And you'll see that there's a definition of downtown area in the language that is empty, because that's up to city council to decide what that means. It doesn't have to be CBD, it can be whatever boundaries you wish, if you want to have such a downtown limitation. That obviously wouldn't prohibit people from walking those bikes or having them otherwise, but just the operation of them in their intended electrified use would be prohibited in that area. And regardless of whether they're authorized or not, we put in here that people using these devices would always have to give right of way to pedestrians. And another complaint we heard was not everyone says on your left. It was down in Georgia this weekend and was on a trail, and
They don't say it there either, so, so, you know, it was bad. Exactly. So, and so this would require an audible signal before overtaking the passing pedestrian. Obviously, there's the usual types of exclusions, police officers, firefighters, employees doing their jobs. And if there's particular events that the city would allow on occasion. So this would, is essentially, tell us what you want to do, if anything, exercise. So at the end of this discussion, it's our hope that if the city council wants to move forward with some type of legislation, you're the policymakers, you tell us what you want it to say, and we will put it into words, is kind of how I did copy the DDA director as well. I was thinking she was going to stick around for that part, but I haven't heard any pros, cons, but I would certainly follow up with her as to her thoughts as well, since this is in her area, if council wants to move in that direction. So the floor is up to council. Obviously, you know, this would be a learning process as well. So whatever you decide to make, I would fully expect administration is going to flood the airwaves, if you will, with notices. I know that the police department is not, we're not here to make $10 on the ticket. It's to get compliance and ensure safety. So there, I'm sure there would be quite a period of warning and education, if you will, before tickets would be issued. So signage is another thing that counts. Like, how would someone know if you can't, you know, be on a walnut or whatever? So we would have to kind of noodle what the signage would be, because you don't want it, you know, much, we talked about these social districts too, right? You're putting stuff on the sidewalks, or maybe there's placards that says, you know, motor-free zone, you know, with something like that. But we'd probably have administration look at a survey of what other communities do to demarcate boundaries for that as well, so.
Okay, so it sounds like council's going to want to deliberate on this, but first a quick question to clarify what we're discussing. Is it just e-bikes? What about bikes?
Scooters?
Bikes, scooters?
That's everything.
This would, if this would include all of the electronic devices that are listed in that section 3. So
But not a bike, so.
Correct.
If we say no e-bikes on Main Street, but I could ride my bike down Main Street?
You tell me.
Yeah, that's what we're discussing.
That's.
Okay.
That's
all
you.
right.
So this is meant to address electronic, or electric or motorized. But if you say we don't want any bikes being operated at all, that would be, obviously, you're expanding, 4-year-old on a bike riding on training wheels on a thing, excluded, you couldn't do that anymore. So that's why it's a good policy decision. So we thought we'd at least start with electric and see where it went from there.
Okay, all right. Maybe I'll start down at the right end. Councilmember Sage, I know you're a biker. You're still thinking. All right, we'll go to Councilmember Jones.
No, actually,
We'll come back to you.
I want to go last because I have a lot of perspective from the trail that I think will apply to this. So
Right.
I want to hear everyone.
Okay, all right. So a couple of first thoughts that I did email about right away is that we have segments of trouble. So we have the Main Street, we have the park, which to me is almost bigger than the issues we're having with the late night kids racing around on their motorized bikes in the park. I think the park has to be discussed. I think the trail complicates everything because I believe there's state rules or whatever, so he can talk to the trail. And then I think the other big decision is where does the downtown start? Nick and I talked today about, if you go all the way to Woodward, I know I have some neighbors that are here tonight that, have come out of the yacht club, which might not be considered right downtown. So how far up do we decide that? I know you left that open for us to decide. And I think downtown, I don't know that pedal bikes should be allowed downtown either. So there's almost like all these different, we can, no motorized from here to here, no pedal bikes from here to here, park has to be addressed. It's just a lot of pieces, and I know that's why we're discussing all this, but there is no doubt that residents are extremely upset about the motorized bikes, and it is dangerous, and there's too many stories of people almost being hit. So I'm so happy that we're doing this. I think residents will be happy that we're discussing it, so that's
Great.
it.
Councilmember Trent?
Councilmember Jones covered a lot of what I was thinking, but I agree there needs to be some kind of rule or ordinance, I guess you'd say, that lets people know where they can have e-bikes and e-scooters. I'm assuming it's e-scooters, anything electronic. There's also speed limits on these that they can go up to 30 or more miles per hour. So, I mean, there's that to be thought about for the rest of the town. Where are they going? We don't have any bike lanes, so, you know, that's where normally you would be seeing some of this, the traffic too, or that was where they would go. But, so, I'm not sure what the ruling will be past this downtown area. I mean, we do have to start somewhere, but, I mean, where can they go? It's like skateboarders, you know? It really is.
Right. Councilmember Hauser?
I see almost like a hybrid. Obviously, I see parts of town where they probably are not going to be permitted, and then parts of town where they will be permitted, you know, in the park here, but obviously have some type of restriction on speed because they are incredibly fast. You can't hear them until they're up on you, and I think it presents far too many problems. So, listen, it's going to take a lot of work, and it's going to be a process, but I think a lot of considerations have to be involved. And frankly, I don't think extending it past the Dairy Queen up to Woodward is unreasonable, because that's where a lot of people hang out, in front of that Dairy Queen over by Albertson and I mean, so, yeah, it's beyond downtown, but you got to look at where the concentration of people are at, I think. And that would certainly be a high point in the summertime. But, and then obviously Chief George and enforcement, you know, are you going to have a radar gun in the park with a kid? And I'm not trying to be silly, but I mean, that's really the idea, is how do you govern speed in a park? You know, so these are things that are obviously have to be addressed, but we have to collectively come up with a solution that hits all these points. So those are just some out loud thoughts.
Yeah.
I'll just continue down the line here. So I think we need to take a look at the map and think about those boundaries. One of the areas that I have been pondering is the alleys. You know, to me, clearly on Main Street, no, not on the frontage, but on the back, on the alleys, maybe, don't know. I'm also concerned about the connections to and from the trail. We want to encourage biking. We love our walkable community, so we want people to bike to town. I know Councilmember King would really love a map, as I would, that shows me where I can park my bike in town and lock it up on where the bike racks are. But then is there a connector? Like, where can you bike from the trail to get to downtown? And then you lock it up and then you walk. In terms of signage, I've seen it in so many municipalities in traveling. They put it right on the sidewalk, a big no motorized vehicles. It's very simple, it's very clear, doesn't clutter.
Good idea.
Question is there a speed limit if you're on a scooter or a bike and you're on the street currently?
It's the same as the posted speed limit.
As a car? Okay, that's scary. Okay, but
Police
that's,
officer here.
is that a state issue?
You have to stay within the posted limit. And most of those e-bikes, I think the class 3s go up to 30 miles.
They go up to 30. Class 3 goes up to 30.
Yeah.
The 2s are like 25, 28.
Okay, so the chief of police says it is regulated based on our speed limit. Okay, that's very fast. I think those are all my current comments. Mayor Pro Tem.
Yeah, I think we need something, as was said, downtown on the sidewalks. I don't know what Councilmember Sage is going to say. To me, on the trail, it's not that big of an issue. I don't see that many going by. And then the other thing I see in here that, you know, and we've talked about this before, that, you know, they have to give an audible signal. I think that's unworkable, and I think half the people have their earphones so loud that they don't hear that anyway, and then they're offended when you go by them. So, I mean, to me, to try to legislate that seems impossible. But I think downtown on the sidewalks, we need something, and maybe regular bikes as well.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Councilmember King, fellow biker.
I'm going to be interested to hear what Councilmember Sage has to say as it pertains to the trail. Where I run into the issues most honestly is the trail. But I think that regulating it, enforcing it, becomes very, very difficult. So I understand if you say, okay, we don't want bikes on the crowded sidewalks on Main Street, but we do need to have an avenue for people to get through town. And maybe create lanes through the alleys or something like that and have designated areas for the bikes, if we're gonna go, something like that. I also don't know how many bikes are on Main Street,
All right, Councilmember Sage, we've been waiting.
So let's start with the trail. So the state has been kind to allow us 3 times to take a bite at the apple with regards to how we manage the trail, right? Because as the e-bikes progressed, evolved, right, and they got to a higher speed limit. So they also gave us the authority to say, okay, at a certain level, you can turn it off and say, all right, class 3 bike is not allowed on the trail. The problem, which we have done, the problem is, how do you enforce that? You can't, unless you're posting, and the mounted patrol isn't going to sit out there on the trail, right? So I wrote down a bunch of notes. Okay, bike lanes. The only way you're going to incorporate bike lanes here is to get rid of parking on Main Street.
No.
Okay. Alleys. We have a very narrow walkway already. It's an alley. Not everybody's paying attention. I don't know that I want to create more traffic in that small sidewalk in an alley. The sidewalks themselves, I agree. I think we should designate an area in town where there's no bikes or no motorized bikes. If you have a bike, I'm not expecting you to ride it up and down the sidewalk either. You should be able to walk it.
Right, for sure. Town is small.
And everybody's allowed to ride their bike on the road, right? So you can ride your e-bike on the road then, and good luck.
Safe travels.
Safe travels. The enforcement is also another issue, and obviously I don't think the chief wants, I mean, I could just see the motorcycle guy chasing down an e-bike down Main Street, but, which I might like to see. We could even do it through drones. Could we?
Anthony, yeah.
Trail connections are a great idea, but I would like to see us continue to talk and designate some areas in what we call a downtown area. And I think sidewalks are kind of off limits for this because there's just too much opportunity for something bad to go wrong. So that's my opinion.
I just want to add one minor other thing. Everybody knows me in town. I'm a major walker, I'm a major biker, so I hit both of those categories. And I think I brought it to one of the meetings where I think Community Lifestyles had an article. I think it is so important to put signs if the pedestrians have the right of way. And I think that's something we could start there with just the rules of the trail and the rules of, if you're walking your dog and a bike's going by and Mayor Pro Tem Bixson is right, a lot of times they don't hear you anyway. But I don't think there's an understanding. I got yelled by some lady on a bike like I didn't have my rights. Pedestrians have the rights. So it's all
But those signs painted on the sidewalk, no motorized.
that would be great. That idea down on the sidewalks.
But let's decide what that area is.
Right.
So Mayor,
City
how about,
Manager?
here in all this is perfect. Put in writing to Jeff, each of the concerns, that we will build this ordinance from all these comments. I think you've probably got 90% of them already covered. So let's just articulate them, say this, I agree. Then the signs, if you have pictures, I know
We
you
need to
sent a
look at a
picture
map.
before.
Look at a map.
Jason Dickinson sent a picture from Coldwater or something that, it's that dismount area, which means you can walk your bike and take it to the bike racks.
I like
But you
that.
must dismount here, because you're gonna get hit by a door that's being opened, so, things like that. So, but I think if we get all that information in writing, we could build this and bring it back.
Good, excellent. And we also have some resources from SEMCOG, Safe Streets, so,
Chief George has got it.
great, good. Okay, I think they've got their direction. All right, next up, moving on to
Oh, wait a
reports
Are
and
we gonna do
regular
public
business.
comment on that or no? 'Cause I did.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Are we doing public comment on that or no? Oh, you're not? Okay, sorry, people, I said.
Well, I guess that's not true.
I didn't know if that's
Any
what
agenda,
tonight-
any
it is
agenda
public
item,
comment.
if public wants to comment, is there anyone here who would like to make a public comment regarding bikes or e-bikes? Thank you.
I'd like to ask her. if she wanted
Mary
to come.
Briskin, 523 Wilcox. I am an avid walker, runner, user of town, and I had my own incident about a week ago walking just out of the Paint Creek Tavern. A lot of what I see on the trail and on streets with e-bikes are younger teens who are flying through town. I happened to walk out with my daughter, hesitated for just an instant, and a bike literally, had I took one more step forward, would have been completely hit by this bike. I see it on the trail. I stopped taking my dog running with me because, I mean, dogs tend to walk in and out, and a lot of times it's the same couple of kids that go open up the bike as fast as they can go, you know, out of town. I think the designated area from where you enter the park up to maybe Dutton area, where that's so congested, should be off limits to e-bikes, especially opened up at their 30-mile-an-hour. I mean, past that, you have less populated trail that would be safer for that kind of stuff, but they don't necessarily, they're on you before you can even make any kind of quick move to bring in a dog or adjust where you are on the trail. And as for in town, I mean, the sidewalks are so narrow at certain places that a pedestrian on a bike shouldn't, they should all be walkable in and around town, just for safety, especially when the outdoor dining in front of Cruise and some of that area is narrowed down completely. I just think for the sake of kids, dogs, families, elderly people walking around, that they should not be within the perimeters of the downtown area. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. Any other public comment on this topic? Come on, Laura, come on.
Laura Murphy, 323 Griggs Street. And I am also an avid user of the trail downtown, both trails actually, Paint Creek Trail, where you say the trail, Paint Creek and Clinton River. I do use the Riverwalk on my bike because it's handy from my house. But it is not ideal. It's not really ideal for more than single file all the time anyway. It might be kind of cool to have, and I would never ride my bike on Main Street in the road or on the sidewalks, but some of the side streets, like just having that lane, like where there's no parking, maybe on the side of the street where cars aren't allowed to park, but like so people don't have to use the Riverwalk, or, I mean, especially the under Main Street, it doesn't take much for that to kind of crowd up. And also, I will just say that the e-bikes, and then they're not even e-bikes, there are no pedals on them, they're foot pegs with the throttle, and the kids are 10, 12 years old, and they are doing donuts in the trail. And those donuts will be there for the next, so whenever it gets resurfaced again. And it's, I don't know what you do about it. But also people can modify their e-bikes apparently, so they can go way faster than 30 miles an hour. And I think I've seen some of those out there. So it's a big problem, but I'm glad that you're addressing it, and hopefully it can mitigate some of the issues that we have. And thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Laura.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, all right, great discussion. This will be good. All right, moving on to reports and regular business. We're going to talk about our Clinton River Trail. Speaking of trails, reconstruction and repairs. So I think looks like we're going to hear from Jason on this. We have some additional information that was provided to council right before the meeting. And so off the top, I want to make sure that this gets included in the revised packet and put up online. City Clerk, please, so that there's some numbers in there that need to have public transparency.
Yes.
Okay.
Feels like everyone needs a break. Are we
I know,
okay?
I know, I'm gonna-
Do we
I'm-
need snacks?
Home
Do we
stretch.
need?
Push through.
Okay.
Yes, push through.
Sorry, I'm going to grab a water.
It's been pretty intense, I've got to say.
We taking a break?
No, we're marching on. She's staying in chambers, she's getting a water, so you can go ahead, Jason.
All right. Well, thank you. So yes, in the same tone of recreation, we're going to talk about the Clinton River Trail and the 2 washouts. So the project has been bid out. Anglin Civil from Livonia was interviewed by city staff and city engineer, Lucille Putros from AEW. And we are looking to award the contract to Anglin for construction work.
Oh, thank you.
Contract amount is $1,2893.97, which includes a 10% construction contingency. And then the supplemental information that you've received also includes the as-bid estimate from AEW, which includes all of the owner's costs, so engineering fees, construction administration, that type of thing. So also included with that, AEW, when they designed the project, for budget reasons, the base bid for the bidders to bid on was the collapse area and then 50 feet in either direction to resurface the trail. Ideally, we'd like to reconstruct up to 150 feet. Some of it's going to be disturbed through construction activity and trucks turning around and that type of thing. So during the interviews and in the bidding process, the bidder said that they would hold their unit pricing to do additional work once we get to that point to select if we want to go 100 feet, 150 feet, whatever it is. There's also unit pricing if we were to resurface the trail from the collapse up to DeQuinder, since it's been there for over a year unused. That's typically a wetter area already. So you'll see in the as-bid estimate, line 9 and 910 do include those unit prices. Totals, so 40,000 and 380,000. So the first request would be to approve to award the contract to Anglin Civil, and then the second request is to approve the total project budget of $1,696,300. And I also included the funding sources that we have. So fortunately, right now, through the grants that were received and the donations that were received, we actually have enough money currently without utilizing any city funding. So we're still going to abide by any, local matches or anything within the grant agreements, but that's where we're at right now.
Mayor, can I jump in,
City
Jason, a little bit?
manager, yep.
So Chief John, we'll give him all the credit. We were in a staff meeting. He's like, hey, they're digging the hole for the big sewer on DeQuinder. I think they're hitting blue clay. And Seal, and working with Kristen Wolfgang's here from the county, we looked at what likely materials would be needed to reestablish this section of the trail. Blue clay was very important. So we went to the bidder, to the contractor for the trail, said, where are you taking that? I think it was Brighton. And it's like, how would you like to dump it in our yard for free? Because we could use that, we believe, in our trail reconstruction. So I think it's like 3,500 yards.
5,000.
Sorry, there you go, 5,000 yards that we have. We had to put a tarp on it. We might have to take off the top 3 inches. So say it's 4,800 yards. We now have a unit price. If they needed to bring more clay in, we have a unit price. So we extrapolated that. That earth is worth between $250,000, $300,000. That's our money. That's our give, our part of our match. We didn't. So that brings down the cost of the job, but it's our donation, because Kristen talked to us about, hey, we're trying to be partners in all these grants from Southeast Michigan Foundation, Ralph Wilson, the DNR, everybody, the counties, money. So we want credit for the fact that we got ourselves a up to $300,000 worth of this project to put in there. So that will all factor into how we use the monies, who pays what, how we go through that. And we'll discover that as we start through this process. So just want everybody to be aware of that our skin in the game is we've been storing that for a year. And we were lucky to get it, and we appreciate the contract. It saved him some money evidently at the other end, so. Just wanted everybody to know that.
Yes, so two things as we kind of dig into this, so dig into it, talking about dirt. So number one, it was required of the city to obtain bonding as a condition of getting some of these grants, correct? So that is why the city bonded. And then secondly, there was a high bid of $3.5 million. So, at first, I'm of course happy that we finally had a bid come in, less than expected, finally. However, mentally, the engineer in me says, because I've been married to Joe for so long, says, well, gosh, how did we have an engineering estimate of $4 million? How come we've been talking about $4 million? Well, we do have a bid for $3.5 million. So in my mind, there still is, until a project is done, I'm still cautious, if you will.
And what helped a little bit might only be 200,000, but it's 200,000 on the other trail blowout. We got with Trident. Trident's giving us an easement to straighten that trail out, saves 180,000 from having to put sheer walls down. We're allowed to now soften that bank. It was re-engineered. Eagle will give us a permit for that. That saves some money also. So we've done everything to value engineer. So we work with the trail folks. What can we do to make this right and work? So we're so thankful to our granting partners.
Yep.
And we did bond, so we know we can cover our end if we have to. So this one is, that's why it's 1.6, not 1.02, because we don't know. The contractors we met out there, it's like, this could fall in more as we're working. We know that. So, but we have unit prices that we can work from, so.
So maybe I'm doing the math wrong. So seems like we have way more than the project is bid at.
Yes.
2501.
Okay, so where do we go from there?
Yeah, so our goal would be go through the sequence of who pays for what. And then in the end, if we don't have to use the granting sources funds, great. If we don't have to use our bond money, great. So there's two ways to do this. Some people called and said, oh, it's under budget by like 1.5 million. Pave the whole trail. No, we don't want to do that. We're not spending money to spend money. Fix the trail, make it stable, follow the Eagle requirements, which were extensive for 6 to 8 months, engineer it properly, use our dirt that we got for free, and then try not to spend more money than we need to. Anthony said about right? Yeah. He won't let us.
So I guess to echo what Councilmember Sage said, so clarify the ask. So tonight, the ask is for the 1.7, or is it for the million? And that would be to restore the two washouts, the complete washout and the other washout. And then how do we circle back with council to be engaged in terms of the source of funding? I understand numbers look great, looks like it's not a budget impact, but how do we, for transparency and engagement of council, what is our order of the funding sources to meet all the terms and conditions of those?
So to answer your first question, it's actually both to approve the contract for Anglin Civil to do the work, and then also to approve the budget of 1.7. And then also with the grants, a lot of times those are reimbursement grants, so we actually get reimbursed. So it's not like we have the money sitting there and we just spend it, as we go. So it's kind of tracked that way. So as far as reporting, I guess I'm open to suggestions on that, but we can.
Yeah, I mean, Kristen, you could probably answer some of this. You deal with this all the time. So it's a regiment that you go through and hierarchy, right? This is Kristen from the county. She's been instrumental.
She's here. Let's hear from her.
And I want,
Thank you.
before we get there, I just want to clarify something. So the approval of Anglin doesn't cost me $1 million to approve them and then get to pay 1.7, correct?
No.
So the approval, if that's one piece, okay, it's just an approval, but then the cost is 1.7.
With all the outside.
Right, for the extra work they're doing.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the base bid for Anglin
Right.
is the 1 million, which includes their 10% contingency. The 1.7 total project
To do
cost
the trail further.
is the entire
Right,
project
right.
budget. So that includes the drawings, it includes
That they don't get paid for.
construction administration. for
Taking it out 150
inspections
feet.
and- yeah,
Taking it a little further.
Correct.
Okay.
Take it
Now we'd love to hear from Kristen.
Thank you, Council. Kristen Milting with Oakland County in the Economic Development Department. So as I reported earlier this summer when I presented to Council, we worked with the Ralph Wilson Jr. Foundation. So those funds, because the city bonded, that was the first requirement. So we can request those funds. However, those funds have to go to the Community Foundation of Greater Rochester as our 501c3.
Yeah.
And so there is an administration fee that goes along with those funds. So I don't know if that was included in the total budget cost, but we could certainly work with you to identify those. But it's really however long the money sits at the Community Foundation is how much the administration fees are.
Yeah,
So,
it's 2%.
yeah. And so those are the conditions of the Wilson Foundation money. The city already has the Community Foundation for Southeast Michigan funds of $521,000. So that was that's already in your account. The $50,000 from the DNR, that is a reimbursement request. So I don't know if that's been taken care of, but that was for some of the geotechnical work and the soil borings that were done very early in the project. The $700,000 from Oakland County Parks, it's a 50% upfront request of funds. So the city will submit an invoice to the county after the grant agreement is executed, and then 50% of those funds are upfront. The second half is reimbursement. So I know that that's a lot of partners involved. And
We
a lot of-
appreciate all those partners. Are you kidding? We are thrilled.
Yes, yep, and then the Friends Group, I mean, just through donations to the Community Foundation of Greater Rochester from the citizens, I mean, that is unheard of to have $30,000.
Yes.
Probably north of $30,000.
I think we need to do something special and wonderful with that. Just,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yep, so, I mean, this truly is a community project. I was out on the trail today, and there's a blue heron hanging out in the pond area still. And
So
there
happy.
I encountered a trail user who was so excited to just have it open again. So I think this is a great opportunity. England Civil has done work on other sections of the Clinton River Trail. So we work with them in the city of Pontiac and also in Auburn Hills.
That's
So
important.
they
Thank
did
you.
asphalt
So we
work
need
and
to
they also
know.
did the
Yep.
crushed limestone.
Oh,
So-
they did? Oh, good
Yep.
job, yeah.
So, sorry, that was probably more.
No,
than
no,
we needed
it's
to.
No, we're really engaged. So, Councilmember King, I see you got a question.
Yeah, and I don't know, maybe Anthony, if this is for you, but, so this is fantastic that we've worked with all these partners to get grant funding. If the project cost does come in at the 1.696 million, if things don't fall apart along the way and require more work, and it stays at that, and we're fully covered by some of the grants that we've received, we'll actually have an excess of grants. Are we able to repurpose any of these for other projects? And are we able then, with the bonding, are we able to pay that back early? Or do we then need to figure out how to repurpose those funds at the end of this project?
So I can speak to the grant agreements. So there are provisions within the grant agreements that any excess funds go back to the foundations.
Of course.
However, in the past, we've been able to work with the foundations to show other improvements along the trail that we've been able to use the funds. So
We'll
in
see.
the agreement, it's to be returned, but they've been excellent partners in the past on other projects.
So,
Yes, we will always ask and make sure if they don't mind it being reimbursed or
Okay.
used somewhere else. So,
I have a question.
yeah, for the bond, there's no repayment piece for that. It's 8 years from when we bonded to when we can do any repayments. So we would then start using those funds when we do the bonds. The wording we use is essentially other improvements and projects. So the next round of roads, whatever the next larger projects are, we would utilize those funds next because they'd be unallocated at that point, and we need to spend them within 3 years. Perfect.
Okay, and at what point do we determine that they're unallocated? When this whole project wraps up?
I would wait until the final bill is paid. And you gotta remember on the bond side too, because I wanna clarify that also, we had other projects that are listed in with that. So
Yeah,
the
we
money
do.
is there for the projects. So we'll see where all of them come into, like Community House, for instance, when we did the bond notice, because of the public hearing, we had to allocate a maximum amount, so that can't be any more than $1 million out of the bond money. So as we get through these other projects, we'll make sure they're all done and paid. Skate park, when we get through Community House, the Clinton River Trail, then we'll see what's left. What we've done in the past with excess funds is we've allocated it for projects. When we did Helen Street, for instance, we had funds left over. Council chose to spend those on water main improvements that were being added on. And so anytime that you're spending money on, like, for instance, water and sewer improvements, then that's a direct rate neutral, right? So we're spending money on those capital needs without having to raise water rates. So we'll explore all those options at the end to see kind of where our next CIPs are landing for the capital improvements. Is it gonna be road projects? You know, we heard from Weber earlier today, we have some extra funding that's gonna be coming in. We'll mirror that on the roads, and we'll see, maybe it'll be water and sewer, and maybe it'll be a facilities improvement, but we'll have those discussions. Most likely, it'll be after the budget's approved, because it's gonna take some time to get through all of these projects, but at least probably next fall, I would imagine. We'd have a pretty good idea on where we're at with the rest of the bond funds.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, Councilmember Trent.
So how do you prioritize? Because the first two grants, 1.2 from Ralph C. Wilson Jr. Foundation, and then the $521,000 grant from Community Foundation for Southeastern Michigan, East Michigan, you're done. You're up to 1.7. So is there like a percentage as you go down the grant
So when
totem pole?
when I've dealt with this before, what we'll do is really look at, like Kristen was saying, which ones maybe it needs to go back to, right? The ones that don't do any reallocations or anything. So those usually then we'll spend first. It'll be like the first dollars that go. And then when we'll review in detail all the agreements, because at the end of it, they're restricted for donations for either the grant or the donation. So they has to be used for that purpose. But then we'll go back and say, hey, if you'll let us reallocate this to the Paint Creek Trail, still a trail, still needs money. We still have, some contingency we need to allocate for the Paint Creek Trail Bridge. If we can repurpose it, we'll put those requests in and use it that way. At the end of it, though, if you don't need it, we're not trying to pave it. We're not, as City Manager Banda was saying, trying to add in like a lighthouse or like, I don't know, some like super cool blue heron, like condo, like scenery areas or something. I know we had talked about like a lookout bridge or a lookout thing at one point, but we're just fixing the trail.
right.
So once that is done, that is all we're doing, and there's no fanciness to it. If you don't need the money, then you don't end up needing it. And then those agencies will then take those funds and repurpose them for projects that are waiting for more money in other places as well, so.
Kristen, I see you waving.
Yep. And also I'll just mention, so the Wilson Foundation likes to put in about a third of a project. They really don't like to go over that. So we really need to be sensitive of the Wilson Foundation money, but the source of the funding from the Community Foundation for Southeast Michigan is the Wilson Trails Maintenance Grant. So that's an endowed fund that started out as Wilson money. So,
Okay.
again, we need to just be mindful
Okay.
and kind of work with her funders. After the discussion tonight, I will go back and have some discussions with them and just talk about the project itself and where the bids came back. But at the end of the day, until the project's closed out, I mean, there's a lot of surprises that could happen.
Absolutely.
Right.
I want to be mindful of that too, because I don't want to have to go back to them a second time.
No, we can't.
And these are very generous grants that they have
Very.
provided to the city, so.
Well, it's a good
I
problem.
just want to.
Yeah, we really appreciate the fact that they recognize the magnitude, the impact, and, it's demonstrated by to your point, the 30,000 that came in from just individual donors. There's a lot of passion behind this project.
Yeah.
Councilmember.
I was just going to build off of that. I just think that it can't be overstated that we got $2.5 million in grants and donations. That I think Rochester does a great job, and thank you for all your help. I mean, that is a lot of funding towards this project.
We're going to
So
have a parade
we
for
are
her.
very grateful.
Would you like to make a
Bronze
motion to
statue?
bronze statue, a
Wait, one second, I want to say
parade.
one more thing, 'cause I'm
Yeah, with extra money.
And the only other thing I want to say, and to your point about not being able to pay back that particular bond, but you know how I am, and just to throw it out there that I think we do need to look at some of our bond debt, and if we're having these great opportunities with grants and such, I think we just need to keep that in mind, where we could maybe look at some that are at a repayment time. That's it.
Thank you. So council,
no, you
I'm going to look for a motion here. We clarified with Jason what the ask is for tonight. So I'm just going to put that back to council, looking for some emotion.
Okay.
Councilmember
I am
King.
going to,
Councilmember King.
I motion to approve $1,002,893.97 for the Clinton River Trail Reconstruction Project for Anglin Civil LLC Livonia, along with the total as-bid project cost of $1,696,300.
Thank you. Motion by King,
is that the right motion? It is, okay.
Yep.
I'll support.
Support by Trent. Any other discussion? I guess for my part, I would really like to see back to council some status updates on where we're at with the sources of funding and how that's proceeding, and let that be public knowledge as well.
Sure, no problem.
City Clerk, the roll call.
Salvia,
Yes.
Gibson,
Yes.
Hauser,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
King,
Yes.
Sage,
Yes.
Trent.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Kristen. And thank you, Fire Chief. That was a big win. Very
Yeah.
proactive. I appreciate
Yeah.
that. All right. Next up, we have our quarterly finance report dated 9/30/2025. So I think we've got some more good numbers to take a look at. We've got treasurer. I saw Marcy. Did she have to?
She just
Did she have to
for just a
leave?
second.
Okay.
She's in the atrium.
All right.
She's in the lobby.
Treasurer Maggio, did you use AI for this?
I'll leave you to guess at that one. I'm looking for full screen. I don't have full screen on this one. Why do I not see? It's gone. Whatever, that'll be fine. All right, council, thank you. We are cruising forward through the year here. As mentioned prior report in July, we are looking at making some changes and updates as we go. As the public and council is aware, we maintain a fluid budget, and we are always adopting and amending to any time we have something for certain that we know of. That's taking our items from a watch list, like the state budget that Senator Weber talked about earlier, to when they actually get adopted and passed, to know that we have some impacts from that. So the first thing, diving right into the impacts on what the requests tonight are. So there's three. One of them is a roll forward from last year. So part of the balance and match on the city side, when we go through all of the costs for the Pink Creek Trail Bridge, we had budgeted $191,800. That was obviously not completed or spent during the last fiscal year ending June 30th. So the ask is to roll that amount forward to the current year. Talking with a seal more in depth on it, there's really a more likely chance it will come in less than that of what we'll have to spend out of pocket. But we want to maintain that because that was our original estimate, and we never know until it's done. There are a few new things that always pop up in doing trail reconstructions, especially going north to Tinkin now. So we have two other items in here. The next two are due to state adoption on their budget. So the first one for the year is going to be, and this is going to be partial year because it's really, starting from October, it's not the full year. But we're looking at a reduction to general fund in state revenue sharing of 102,142 to what we have budgeted. So there is a rolling impact to that because we had that in there plus 3% each year. So it's a decrease for this is for the adopted budget that we're in now, and then that will also carry forward for the next few years also. The other change is increase to the local roads, which is what Senator mentioned earlier. So from what we have adopted to what the estimate is, will be an additional $493 and $100. Now, everything I've seen written so far says that that's going to be going to specifically local roads. So the increase we put into local, not to major streets. And so if anything changes, then we'll have a change later, but it should all be to local streets. So that is the change in there. So net to the positive between the two. The only thing that's different is the positive has to be used only for roads. It has to be streets. Versus the general fund, the 102, that is dollars that are discretionary, because that's state shared revenue that council gets to direct where they go. That is just going down and staying flat. When we look at the 3-year projection, there is a lot of uncertainty on this number, mainly due to the marijuana tax. They have some estimates of what they think that will bring in, and that's what's plugged into the formula. So with anything on a large tax increase, whether that comes to fruition or not, we have to wait and see. But it is what it is. It's their estimates, and that's the most accurate information we have. Good news is over the next 3 years, so they gave us a 3-year estimate. This continues to increase to over 700,000 in year 3, so for 28. So since those budgets are not adopted, the further ones out, we will incorporate those numbers into the regular goals and objectives process. We'll have all 3 years with what they have for us into the budget. So the only ask for tonight is the amendment on the current. Oh, happy for question.
Oh, I'm sorry, Councilmember Sage.
Go ahead. Sarah.
So I just want to make sure I understand. So the negative 102,000, will that reduce the general fund pool? And we'll
Correct.
see the 493 to local roads. Will we offset that by reducing what we would have put into local roads?
We will have that discussion at goals and objectives. For this year, there's not any request for that.
Okay.
For the year ending June 30th, but we will have that discussion in goals and objectives for how do we want to balance out the next budget years coming up.
Got it.
Councilmember Sage?
Thank you. Director Maggio, so as this is a fluid budget, and if I do know of a budget amendment that I would like to propose, and given its dollar amount, is it something that could be added to this report?
Absolutely.
All right.
Yeah, anything budget-wise that we want to discuss, ask for, or talk about, this is absolutely it.
Based on discussions, I know that the mayor and a bunch of other people within the community have had regarding Greater Rochester Heritage Days and the request from the Historical Commission for an additional 15,000. They're only allocated 5 now, but based on the plan we have for the festival that we're all building towards, they need another 15. So I didn't know if that's something we can propose now, if that can be incorporated in this amendment. I'm offering it up.
So we also have some other potential funding
I was going to
sources
say,
on
I
that.
thought the funding
Okay.
was okay when we talked about it in budget and finance. I forgot what the details were. You were there.
Yeah, I think we have
What
some
about
other
that?
funding sources. I'd like to.
It was the other 15, because
Right.
really the 20 was the goal for getting an idea of what to plan for and start doing reserving for
Yeah.
various vendors and that. Because the committee really can't have any discussions or make any recommendations or even work on anything
Right.
without a
Right,
budget,
without a
right?
budget.
Even though we're using like the DDA, for instance, they're gonna be doing work on it. They can't work on anything until we have money
Right.
allocated for the project. So the total
What about Dino
was
Hill?
the 5,000 and then the request for an additional 15. So it'd be 20 in total on the budget side.
That's not in the line item.
But then I
But we-
thought there was
we also-
7,000 coming.
We had some carryover funds from previous years
Oh,
that were in the
they-
Dino Hill
But they're moving.
Dinosaur
accounting.
Hills gonna liquidate the account as well.
Right, so they're
Right, and
moving
so-
it to the city.
Wasn't that about $15,000?
There's still bills to be paid out of that. It should end up being around 10.
I think I'd rather wait till we have more details around this to do any sort of a
Yeah.
amendment, personally.
Okay.
Okay. So,
I have a
that
question, though.
question for Trent?
So my understanding is when I was listening to MML Live, that the state budget adoption of the increased roads to share revenue with for roads from the state, there's a lawsuit coming down the pike from the cannabis industry. But do you think that would affect this at all, or do they just kind of move forward till it's sorted out?
Nothing moves quick through the state on legislative stuff.
Or
So
local.
if there were lawsuits, you're probably a couple years out from those being settled. Appeals, Supreme Court, I mean, who knows when that would ever happen?
I don't know, I think they were saying that wouldn't really, that they already allocated the funds, so I guess.
Yeah, it's in the appropriations.
Year one,
They
so year one should be good.
appropriated the funds.
Yeah, so we should be, so I just wanted to confirm that.
Now,
We should
whether
be-
if there's an upset about the tax side of things and how that works, the funds were appropriated.
Okay, that's what I wanted to confirm.
All right, city
Yeah,
manager.
so in my economic development world, this is the bigger worry. Ohio approved recreational marijuana. From Detroit to Toledo, they think 70% of the dispensaries that were built are going to go away because all the people from Ohio were coming up here. If you've looked at Oxford, two already closed in Lake Orion. And remember, the way the
Prices
cities
have
get.
plummeted.
Yeah, the cities, exactly. The cities, the black market's coming back. There's an overflow in the market of the product. And then, remember, the way you get your money as a city, and a lot of cities planned on this, if you have, Anthony taught me all this, if you have 10 dispensaries, and 100 are in the state, you get 1/10 of that revenue. Well, every one you close, you lose one unit of that. So it's already starting to happen. So it's, to be counting on that revenue seems pretty weak right now, in the long run. In the short run.
Year one?
It's probably, year one, we're probably okay, but we have to keep our eye on that, so.
Okay.
And the committee has talked about that, because they basically have, I don't want to say punting it is the right thing. They want to see what's going to happen. They do plan on addressing it if they start seeing the funds not coming in at the levels that they were expecting. Then they have to find probably rainy day funds for the first year. They have to figure a different fix for that. So I know at least on the legislative committee, they are cognizant of
Okay.
that.
All right.
Okay. Treasurer, what other items in the quarterly
Yes,
report would
yes,
you like
yes.
to highlight for us?
All right, I do want to hit a new piece in here because we like colors and charts, and these are great. And Jason,
I would say this looks like Jason to me.
This is not me. But one thing the team we'd been talking about is, we have a normal budget, the normal operations. You have payroll, you have all these other things, but there are projects that get approved when council has, and we'll start going through a couple of these here. When the projects get approved, it's not easy to necessarily see what's going on with that project. Where is it at? When is it going to be done? So what Jason put together for this is basically we have a list of projects, and they're not necessarily in a specific order here, but all the things we had been talking about or council had approved, whether it's the roads that was earlier this year, parking lots, signage from the city, all of the different kind of more, like the larger asks, the things that are more special versus like, hey, we're buying new computers, we're not gonna have the computer replacements in here. But like the big transition we do that we're working with BSNA and that on. So there's two things to look at. One, we have budget. And then there are some notes if there's grant funding. We are trying to tweak and add some supplementary information in that. And then the calendar timeline of kind of when it's gonna start and kind of when it should end, along with what budget has been spent so far. So in the bar is the dollars spent so far. The original budget over on the left, kind of the rough time frame. So this would be, roughly end of the year. And then it's like that for each of the projects here. So just kind of a way to kind of give you an idea of kind of what's going on, when you can expect to see it. Like when we look at, Ludlow Park, for instance, like we're not planning, well, we've started that, but it's not looking to be completed until really the springtime. So the bulk of the construction, it's out for bid right now. And then we're looking at construction here, so sometime by June, hopefully, or sooner, is when that would be done for that grant funding. So this is just kind of a new layout and a new visual for council, just to keep an eye on specific projects that either get called out, are very important, even if it's, very, very small. We're looking at just highlighting those and keeping tabs on what's going on there.
Great, yeah, that's really good. It's a great visual. I would just ask that in specifically where we have grant funding that we have to spend by certain deadlines, if we could somehow delineate that on there or note that, keep it in front of us.
Okay, very well. So if there's no questions, this is new, so please feel free, review it, look at it. If you have any ideas, suggestions, let Jason or myself know. We can make tweaks, but just trying to keep that. Oh, yes.
Can you refresh me on a couple of things on here? The brick grant and.
Yep, so the brick grant, this is, oh my God.
Fire
all right.
station.
This is the fire station storm drain, okay, the issues with the flooding.
Okay.
So we got awarded the grant to do the engineering for the project, all right? Now, during this time, this is when the election changed over, and then all of a sudden, brick got defunded, mainly. So Michigan State Police, so the way the feds do these grants is they give it to the state manages it with the local municipality. So we deal with Michigan State Police, there's an officer that deals with these liaison pieces. So everything they have said so far on MSP at the state side is, well, you have the grant and the funding's there, they haven't taken it away yet. But we do know there's no future funding for actual construction or anything. So they said, keep doing the reports. So fire chief and I guess now the next fire chief will continue doing the reports, but we have not executed any, we haven't come to council and said, hey, we want to get 120-something thousand for AEW to go do the engineering. We'll submit invoices and see if they pay us. Hey, we haven't gotten to that part yet, so we're keeping it open. And we're trying to get a hard yes or no, because we don't want to waste time with like AEW if, we start spending money on it and thinking we're going to get it, and then they decide, yeah, no, we're not going to give it to you. So it's there and it's on hold for the most part. But at some point, we're going to have to do something with this.
I mean, don't we need to do that project?
Sure.
Like.
And we can bring that forward.
But it hasn't been approved for the city if we don't get the funding. Got it.
Yeah, we would just need,
we would need to have an understanding that that could be 100% general fund expensed.
Right.
We will try to get the $94,000 out of that, but if we don't, it's not for lack of trying. They haven't told us no. They haven't said, anybody that hasn't spent anything, don't do anything, cancel all the projects like they have in other programs. They haven't through this at this time.
Got it. And then my other question was on the east parking deck canopy.
Mm-hmm.
Where's the canopy going?
That's on the east deck.
The top.
Where it's all open, there's no covering over that equipment, all the machinery and the equipment. So that's just to add, basically for weather, snow, rain, literally just over that actual unit on the top of the east deck.
Yeah.
Is that what it is, farmer's market? Oh, after farmer,
okay.
oh, that's right, thank you.
Yeah.
That's right, because farmer's market's using the lot,
Yeah, I recall that now. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. All right, good on that one? All right, moving on. We're early in the year, there's not really anything to note per se, so I don't have any specific items for anyone. We're in the first quarter, everything is cruising just fine. We do try to make notes, so even though things are like 83%, it's because it's bond debt. You're just paying, the schedule is how the schedule is, and there's nothing out of budget with it. They're just it's just that way because of the timing, so. With that, I'll take, if there's any other questions, otherwise we'll look at, approving those 3 amendments.
I guess I just had, well, I guess I'll take motions from council. I saw a couple hands. Councilmember King.
Motion to approve the 3 budget amendments as proposed.
Motion by King. Support by Hauser. I guess, any discussion? I had a couple questions, emails back and forth with Treasurer Maggio. It's interesting, I heard a number earlier today regarding 56 million. We have $56 million in money reserves that is invested in cash pooled investments. So that's the number, 56 million. That is money that the city has. The yields on that currently are 4.28 and 4.11. So even our money market CDs are earning 4%. So just really wanted the record to reflect the $56 million is money that the city has and is earning a good rate of return safely.
And one clarifying point to that, keep in mind, we're in tax season, so that's also, if you look here where we have tax receipts, this is not all our money.
Right.
So because there's about a 30-day lag between when we receive funds for taxes to when it gets dispersed to the entities. So during the tax season time, especially during this quarter, we have a lot more funds than we will now.
And we'll collect interest on those for 30 days.
Absolutely. Yeah, exactly.
All right, council, any other discussion? City clerk, the roll call.
Salvia.
Yes.
Vixen.
Yes.
Hauser.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
King.
Yes.
Sage.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you, council.
Thank you. Thank you for your work, Treasurer and Assistant Treasurer Moorwacki. Thank you. Next up, we're going to talk about the master fee schedule. Consideration to approve an updated master fee schedule. I know this has been under considerable discussion by the Budget and Finance Committee, and it has been in our packet. So, Marcy, what would you like to tell us about this?
So each year, we analyze the master fee schedule. So this year is no different. This is our opportunity to come before council, explain the changes, and just assure the public that everything that we do, we're trying to cover our costs and keep our service levels high. So this year, we presented some budget changes. Not as many as we have in the past, but there's some in the building department, some in the clerk's department, some in water and sewer, and I'll scroll here just so you can kind of get a peek at it. But the proposals made were discussed and vetted internally, interdepartmentally, and with the Budget Finance Committee. So the proposal tonight would, if we're looking at last year's numbers, would increase revenues about $24,000. So in the building department, one of the big asks is work done without permit. That would be for building permits, mechanical, plumbing, and electrical. We've seen an uptick in work that's being done without permits. We just need to have it in our fee schedule, how we're going to go forward with that. The proposal is a $100 stop work order fee and 150% of the regular permit expense. We'll take a look at that again next year and see if we've gotten a reduction in this action that's taken without permits, and if we need to propose an increase to 200%. Some of our other comparable communities charge 200% of the regular permit cost. So we can kind of take a look at it. If we can curtail it with 150%, then that's what we're proposing to do tonight. In the other building department proposals is an adjustment of sign permit fees. In the clerk's department, we had some robust discussions with the Cemetery Advisory Board. There's a list of changes that are being proposed for you tonight, as well as the amphitheater, excuse me, there's a tongue twisters, and gazebo at Lions Park. That one, we are proposing to make it equal in price to the reservations at Kiwanis. So we're doing a little bit of work behind the scenes to finalize ownership of that park. So right now, we're not reserving it, but we would like to, once we get everything settled, that it be the same reservation price as we are offering at Kiwanis. It's a similar type of venue, and that's the proposal for that park. Then in the Department of Public Works, there is, it says water and sewer meter. It's truly just water meter costs. We purchase the water meters from a vendor, so the proposal, it changes every single year. They change their cost to us. So we're proposing that pass-through change in the master fee schedule. And then the police have one that they're asking to add. It's the pistol purchase notary fee. It takes a lot of time for the individual that does that. In the police department, state does not allow a high cost for that service, but Chief George is asking for that to be added to the master fee schedule and have that be discussed tonight. So if you have any questions about it, we can go over it, but we just really look at this for financial stability, fairness, transparency. We look at them every year. We started it in 2018, where we compiled all of the fees. We pulled them out of the ordinance, and we did it with the master fee schedule, and that this is the time of year that we bring that forth. So if you have any questions, we can go over those or we would ask for a motion to approve the resolution to adopt the master fee schedule as presented with the effectivity dates noted. And this action would formally replace the prior fees and maintain the single comprehensive master fee schedule for all city services.
Thank you. Councilmember Hauser.
I don't know, thank you for putting this together. Quick question, these proposed fees, are they set in stone? Are they able to be discussed any further or no?
If there needs to be a change throughout the year, we would certainly bring that forward to council, or if council has some different items, because we actually pulled from the fee schedule a few things that we wanted to discuss in greater detail with council at goals and objectives. So we try to do it in a consolidated fashion, but we're not held to that. We can come forth.
This is just my own personal view, and it would be with respect to line item 1A, the work done without a permit, because it's almost an epidemic lately, and I think that there has to be some type of, I don't want to say punitive, but certainly some type of deterrent. The work done without a permit, stop work order of $100, and then the permit fee is 150% of the normal permit cost. I don't have an issue with the 150%. It's the $100 to me seems like a rounding error. And I think, just my own personal view, I think anything less than 500 doesn't move the needle for these developers who decide that they're just going to go and do work without pulling the permit. I think there has to be something a little bit more substantive to catch their attention. That's just my view, and I don't expect everyone to agree, but I just wanted it made known that $500 should be the bare minimum someone's charged for working without a permit, because you have health and safety issues.
Okay. Councilmember King.
Just a quick question, would those same fees apply for a developer on a commercial project as would a homeowner that might have done something?
So that's where we get to the point where we have to weigh it.
Sure.
Because there are new people in the community that aren't aware that they have to pull a permit for, say, a window replacement, or most people know that they should pull it for roofing, but there's always the residents that will say, hey, I didn't know. So I hear what you're saying. $500 sounds fair for a large developer, but is it fair for the residents?
Are those fees waivable by the city inspector or the city manager on a case-by-case basis? Does the city manager have discretion?
Jeff, you can answer, but I believe the answer is yes. Randy goes out there. If someone gets in his face, I think I told you before, somebody on Helen pulled a roofing permit. Randy went to inspect it, and he built a whole addition on the back. His answer was, it's got a roof on top of it. He tried to avoid all the permits for the whole addition. So Randy, he's caught people that said, I didn't know I need a window one. He'll work with them. He'll charge them the regular fee, but it's the truant folks. It's not developers fair. It's usually a homeowner's contractor that just, it's the tree guys. The bonded tree companies always ask, do you have a permit?
Yeah.
It's the fly-by-nights, and they get hit 150% of the fee, so that's kind of where we came up with 152. But Randy was shocked that we don't have that. Most communities are 200%, but we're
This
trying to
number
be
came
reasonable.
from Randy.
What's that?
This number came from Randy.
Correct.
It's in a proposed fee schedule.
Yeah,
The
correct. He wanted
$100
200,
and
but-
150. Correct.
No, he wanted 200%.
Percent, right.
He wanted
Yeah.
200%.
Right,
Okay.
and I'm fine with the 150%. It was more of the fine.
Any other discussion, questions? Councilmember Trent?
So we're going to revisit this, like you said, next year, or, I don't know,
Every
6
year we
months.
do this.
Right, in 6 months, we'll say, maybe even, this isn't working. I mean, it could be quicker than a year,
Oh, yeah.
would be my
So-
preference.
Maybe that's what you'd like to do. If this is acceptable to the council, maybe you take a look at it in 3 months or 6 months and you see, has the volume of egregious work being done without permits, has it declined? We don't have any teeth right now, so.
Right, right.
So we definitely
Yeah.
need
So listen-
we
okay.
definitely need to have something on the books. It's your decision as a group.
And I can tell you from the tree side, the first year, I think I had 13 illegal removals. We get 1 or 2. They might be horrible, but the word got out. Most residents know, they know you need to pull a permit to do plumbing, electrical, add on to your house. The ones that, I'm gonna do it on my own, so I hope I don't get caught, there should be some way to punish them, so that's the right word.
Councilmember Trent?
Just one last thought. I do agree with this. I just want to make sure that it works, because Councilmember Hauser brought up a good point.
And it might never get used. If everything was in a perfect world, we'd never use 150%, because everybody would just follow the
All right.
rules.
All right, council, any actions on this? Councilmember Trent?
Yeah, I would like to make a motion to adopt the fee schedule as presented.
And then could I just inquire, so on the timing of it, so what we're proposing is to have the timing of the cemetery asks be effective tomorrow.
Yep.
Because we have a list
Yes.
of people that would like
Yes.
to.
Do you want me to add that
So
in?
October 28th on that. Would you like, the work order to also be effective tomorrow?
I would like that. I
Yes.
would like both cemetery and work orders,
Is there,
yes.
oh, some of them can't be because they're just not
Yes.
appropriate for right now, is that why?
Some of them in the master fee schedule have already been approved. So the water and sewer rates that were effective September 1 of 2025, you don't have to change anything on that. But what we were knowing that we have people on a waiting list for the cemetery,
Right.
we proposed to have that effective as soon as you
Okay.
approved it. So we could also make the work done without a permit effective tomorrow.
Yes.
Both the cemetery and the work order
Okay, so
effective tomorrow.
if I could ask
Which
on
is
the
October
motion, if you
28th.
could say that.
Right, okay.
City clerk has it, yep.
Okay.
So motion by Trent, support by Jones. Any other discussion? City clerk, the roll call.
Salvia.
Yes.
Dixon.
Yes.
Hauser.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
King. Yes. Sage.
Yes.
Trent.
Yes.
Thank you. And so if we could have a report back to council in 6 months, this is, what is this, the end of October? So that's like, what, the end of March? Okay, thank you. And hopefully it's 0. That would be great. Moving on to item 10. So we're going to start off with a report from the Sister City Committee. Councilmember Jones, Councilmember Trent.
Trent's gonna take
Trent?
it.
I'll do it. Yes, we had a meeting, 10:14, last week, and our new member Eliza Pizzuti from Rochester Hills Youth Council attended, a nice addition. And Maggie Bobbitz attended as well, and David, Executive Director of the Rochester Regional Chamber of Commerce, and then David Ward came from Rara, who's the executive director. So Maggie Bobbitz gave us an update regarding the Memorial Day Partnership combined event with Rochester Hills. She proposed starting the Mount Avon Cemetery ceremony at 9 a.m. And so we're trying to basically consolidate time as well, make it efficient. And then the 9:30, the parade will start. And it ends at Rochester Hills, I think it's Veterans Park is the name, I always get confused with the other one, on Avon and Livernois, not the location. So she and her team will be managing the event. We're proud and happy to say that. They're excellent at events, and that was all her reporting was. She said she would create a bus book, though, to catalog everything and document everything that she does and is needed when somebody picks that up. David Ward, Rah Executive Director, I said attended as well. He came in with more information with the concept of Stories Untold, about local residents, stories of soldiers who gave their lives for this country. He has more to come on that. Just want to make sure that everybody understands the difference between Memorial Day and Veterans Day, which is coming up on November 11th.
Excellent, thank you.
That's it.
Anything else?
Nope, there's nothing else to
Okay.
that one.
All right, Rah, Councilmember King.
Thank you. Quick update, just having a good year. We're on revenue to exceed 2024 levels. The Rochester Hills millage will be voted on November 4th. They're proposing just a flat renewal of the millage, so no change to the Rochester amount that we pay through our budget as well. And then we've been reviewing the master plan and voted to release it for public comment. That plan will allow us to be able to, well, one, to, I think set direction on what our residents want for our recreation authority, but also to be able to potentially seek grant funding in the future. It was posted in the newspaper on October 15th that has been released for a 30-day review. I was looking though, and I'm not finding the link on the city website, so I'm gonna check with David, or on the Rah website, so I'm gonna check with David on that and make sure we get that shared.
All right, thank you. Back to Councilmember Trent for the Downtown Development Authority.
Right, well, you saw most of the presentation earlier.
Yeah, that's true.
That covered a lot of it with the new Graham architectural renderings and revised to mitigate the out-of-budget, budget cost of the previous design because of the soil borings report. And the bids will be coming back before the end of Thanksgiving. I don't know if you guys heard that part of it, but that's the plan. And then also, Lanyap is having its 20th year anniversary. And the exciting news is that Channel 7 will broadcast their live at 7 p.m., their news broadcast. And it includes, and it also will include the lights coming on. So that's pretty exciting. And we got a donation from Commissioner Brendan Johnson for $10,000 to be used at Lanyap as well, I believe, for the fireworks.
For the fireworks, yeah.
Yes, and he's not even our commissioner, so really, thank you, Commissioner Johnson. That's it.
Excellent.
Unless you want to add anything.
Thank you. No, I'm just excited. 20 years of the Big Bright Light Show.
Yeah.
Can you believe it? 7 o'clock, live Channel 7.
Yep.
Set your DVRs. Oh, those don't exist anymore. Okay, just come and see it live. All right, Pink Creek Trailways Commission, Councilmember Sage.
Yes, ma'am. We did start our 2026 budget discussions, so that we should have those approved by December. We did get an update on Bridge 31-7, and the timing is a little later than we had thought previously, but we're going to keep that updated. They're giving us an estimate of the end of May for completion now. So we will still be using the.
Good weather, good weather.
Using the cut-through, yes. And I gave you some printouts of the southeast Rochester properties. We own 2 properties, the trail does. So there's a 1.5 acre parcel that basically, as you can see, runs over Letica Drive and then into the parking lot. So obviously, when the trail came to the city with that parcel, we had to set up a whatever quasi-permanent easement with the city because it's over a road. So I don't think there's going to be any further development on that property. But we also own a half-acre parcel across the Clinton River Trail, and it now abuts up against 128 acres that Oakland County Parks just bought. So I'm sure they're going to be approaching us at some point to say, hey, how would you like to tie in your parcel? It'll come to the trail first, and then the trail will come to city council and say, how do we want to do this, right? In the past, we had a donation at one time for somebody to build an observation deck there, right? I think we went through some Eagle surveys and everything, and it just kind of fizzled out from there. So I'm not really sure how they would repurpose the land, but maybe OCP has some better ideas, and I'm sure the trail will be willing to listen. So I just want to put that on everybody's radar. We might be discussing that in the near future. Why don't we go to the Historical Commission?
That would be lovely. Let's go right there.
All right, so we submitted the city clerk, the commission's bylaws. We had been remiss in reviewing those annually, so we did and made some minor revisions. So we wanted to get a report back. Have they been approved, codified by the city?
We have them.
Okay. Do we need to vote on them at the council? Okay. You'll just give us notice? Okay, very good. Founder's Day is taking shape, because I know you guys were waiting to put it in your calendars for March 22nd of 2026. Carol Egbo will be back, but this time she's going to do a history of all the Revolutionary soldiers from Oakland County. So we're going to tie in that. One question, we know Rochester Hills is going to video the presentation. Is there also an opportunity to live stream it through CCTV, like we normally do with the council? Okay, we'll talk about that. Great. And then, as it is the holidays, since we talk about it all the time, I brought it. So yes, the Detroit United Railway book is a fine holiday gift.
Stocking stuffer.
Councilmember Sage, I just want to commend you. You carry that banner of the railway book well.
You do.
You carry it well.
He keeps it in his glove box.
Yes, well done. And then I think we have one more report from Dinosaur Hill, back to Councilmember Trent.
Dinosaur Hill had a board meeting on 10/15, and we discussed the technology upgrades that they were looking to have, which were 3 computers and monitors, 3 monitors, and cybersecurity upgrades. So that was approved. Ellen Witz is the new general operations manager, and she had her report, which was very well done. Thank you, Ellen. And her request was to increase social media engagement on Facebook and Instagram by liking, sharing, and commenting on their social media channels, and register for a class or event, purchase tickets, events like Dinosaur Hill Craft Workshops, Unleash Your Creativity, Green Friday Crafts on 11/28, and Spruce Up Centerpieces on 12/7, December 7, or Poisons and Spells. Sign up for that one. That one is on, that one passed, sorry. Then Dinosaur Hill Nature Preserve Glow Dig on November 14th and November 15th. Register at dinosaurhill.org/classes, a glow-in-the-dark craft, followed by a search for glowing prizes in our Dino Dig in the Dark. And last but not least, you can get your Girl Scout badge opportunities there as well, and you can find that all online. But some exciting news is that it's a very small board, and there we will be looking for board member recruitments soon. And they're working on writing and presenting a process for finding or recruiting new board members. So we'll be talking about that at our board meeting in November. We are also looking at applying for a strategic planning grant through Oakland County's Thrive, which is a business and nonprofit services from the county that are free. And they're very interested in that. And then they're working on their 2026 strategic goals and budget and planning for the next year. And I was also told that they are getting a lot of visitors because of the redirect of the trail, and they're very excited about that. So they're wanting to ramp up more programming.
That's great. Yeah, they should take advantage of that.
And last but not least, I will be meeting with Ellen Witz and Nick Schaefer, our Deputy Director, who is sitting here in the audience, DPW Director, on Friday, October 31st, Halloween, to discuss the fourth quarter report from Dinosaur Hill.
Excellent. So we're going to have a
Third
fourth
quarter.
quarter, we're going to have a report.
Yeah, we're going to have a report.
A report.
We're gonna
And is
have
that,
a
and is that going
report.
to include the community garden?
That will be including in the discussion, yes, of the community garden. We will include that as well. And I will have that for our next meeting.
Excellent.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Sorry, didn't mean to put you on the spot on that
No,
one.
that's okay. I really appreciate you bringing that up.
All right, I think we got all the boards and commissions, so we'll have regular reports. City clerk, we have an election, right?
We are in the midst. We have completed day 3 of early voting. We've had 52 voters. And we have 845 of the 3,000 ballots, absentee ballots have been returned, so.
I just brought 2.
Okay, so
That doesn't count.
It does.
Yeah.
So,
847.
everybody will be going through Sunday, so.
Thank you. Thank you to all those volunteers. That's a lot of hours. It's wonderful. City manager.
So, speaking of that, so in general, in this election season, we've had a pretty civil discussion with folks calling about candidate signs in places they shouldn't be. So the process has been Chief John, myself, John Shep, Randy, if we see one in the right of way, obviously, we move them back, or we call and say, could you please move back? Had 100% people out complying. So normal, if someone fights us and said, are you sure I want to get a survey, whatever, we would give them a citation. They have 10 days in order to correct it before we would go ahead and issue a ticket. We're within, I think, 9 days of the election, or 8. So anybody calling and gets a complaint about a sign and somebody willingly will not move them, we're not going to waste our time, quite frankly. If it's obviously in the right of way, we'll still do the same thing. We've moved them back if we can, but it's kind of quieted down over the weekend a little bit here and there, but a couple of people have been very adamant, and we've got complaints. So we're just through this last little bit of a cycle. So we're in that weird time now, because they're not political signs, they're temporary signs. So they're treated like any other temporary sign. If somebody puts a banner on the building, we give them 10 days to take it down, or we write a ticket, and then they can tell the judge. So we're in that period right now. So just for the public to know that it's a little bit wonky right now, but we're almost at the end. That's it.
It's there. Great, thank you. City attorney? Councilmember King?
So I know there was a little bit of criticism from a political viewpoint on our training that we did, but I want to thank city administration for organizing the training with McKenna. I think it was a really great refresher, kind of gave everybody a good foundation, and just allowed a lot of dialogue, especially as, there's a big focus around aligning the master plan to the zoning. So I think it was really worthwhile to do that, and just, I found a lot of value, even though I had spent quite a bit of time on planning commission, I still thought it was worthwhile, so thank you for that.
That was the first negative comment. We got nothing but positive comments.
Yeah. And I shared some slides on my Facebook for the public. Just, I think it was great for people to see, what do the 3 areas
Goals.
focus on? How do we work together? Just great information for people to be aware of.
Excellent, thank you. Mayor Pro Tem?
Yeah, nothing, just I would urge everybody to get out and vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Sage?
Nothing this evening.
I just have a couple things. We had our RIA annual meeting. Pat McKay is our guest speaker, if anybody wants to see our report. He was wonderful, as awesome. We really, as always, we appreciated him being there. Also, we talked about the Christmas parade, so just a reminder, get your application in if you want to have a float in the parade. I am involved in the Eagles float, so it'll probably be the best float out there, so look for that. I want to thank Officer Hoag for letting me do a ride with her, and then I spent about an hour with the police chief, and just some of the extra work he's doing right now. He is visiting the assisted senior living centers. He's spending a lot of time on this. He's going into every church, and it's a tremendous amount of work for him to talk about security risks and assessments, and I thank him for all that extra time he's spending on that. The sign discussion, I just want to tap, I have had a lot of people complain too, and it's disappointing to me that we have any issues with the signs. So the rules are the rules, and I feel like they should be followed. So that's my comment on that. As far as Councilmember King just talked about, we did have a planning and zoning joint training with Vidya from McKenna. This is the first time I've been trained, and I think it was mentioned by a resident earlier. I think it is extremely important we do that training. There was so much to learn. I want to just quickly say what my key takeaways were for it. From that was that the Planning Commission, the City Council, and the ZBA each play an essential role. We need to collaborate more regularly across the committees, especially around annual reports, budgets, capital improvement planning. The master plan reflects the vision for the future. The zoning ordinance governs today's regulations. They both have to align, and they inform each other, and we must be consistent with what we're doing. Some of the specifics are, we should put expiration dates, that we talked about this, on projects. We need a city council member. We can have a city council member and probably need one on the ZBA. We need more structure in our public meetings to make public comment fair and consistent for everyone. And as I mentioned, I think we have to do more with what we do in training. That's it.
Thank you. Councilmember Trent.
Just very quickly, I had the honor of being at Howlett Park, doing seed collecting with 15 people, and many of them were local residents and residents around the neighborhood. And my point of saying this is I want to thank them all, but that the residents that live around Howlett Park and the people that go to Howlett Park were just so complimentary of that park, and they love it. And it's kept up so well by Parks and DPW. We collected seeds for the Dinosaur Hill Free Native Seed Library, so anybody can go check out native seeds anytime they like.
Cool.
Yeah.
Councilmember Hauser.
Please vote. That's it.
That's it.
Get out and vote.
I will be brief. It's 5 minutes to 10. I did want to comment on the training session. A lot of my comments were similar to yours. I did send an email to city administration, city attorney. There are about 8 points, but number one, we've got to do it every election cycle to have that training happen every year. Really good cross discussion and training. Last week I had the honor of representing all of the residents here in Rochester, along with Mayor Brian Barnett, at the inauguration of the 11th president at Rochester Christian University. It was a beautiful event, beautiful community event. Really honored to represent all of us there. Trick-or-treating. We got one more time of trick-or-treating, 6 to 8. The whistle will sound, right, as always, so 6 o'clock, it's the same as Rochester Hills, so should be no confusion. Veterans Day, 11/11, 2 p.m. at the fire station. Fire Chief and David Bertlich are working hard on that program, and we're still looking to calendar for council, our master plan zoning implementation, so we still got to get a date on the calendar. I know administration is working on that, so please respond to your email and let's get something calendared. So with that, meeting adjourned.
Thank you.
So this thing that we're doing for